shit.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 79 of Power Bombshells. I am Sam. That is Mel. As you can tell, we're having a little bit of technical issues today, but we are still not your typical bras talking about your typical wrestling. And
That was literally me having our feed open in the background. Isn't that hilarious? and not having the volume down. Kayfabe.
As you can tell from 79 episodes in, we're very professional. we're not amateurs at all.
That's why we're on the $10 link, because we're so good at this. We're worth $10,
right?
Not $5.
You can pay $10 to listen to the audio of this, and hopefully they don't bleep out no cussing at the beginning.
Hey, listen.
Which is on brand for us, though. So
yeah, we are the cursors on the network. Although it's not on any. I mean, just the YouTube stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's in the back there. When this past Christmas, my mother-in-law gave me a paint set of like watercolors and like all the stuff to go with it. It's really cool. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this. And so I was like, what do I paint? Because I didn't know what. So the first thing I painted was literally a bomb with a big purple F on it. And so it's like up in the back there behind me.
One day when we have merch, we probably should add that to our.
It's a Power Bombshells. We can
have like our logo, and then instead of like in the middle, like we can have the F bomb above our logo. Yeah.
Or it could be an add-on where it's like, and don't forget to
yes, for $5 more, $3 more, put your own F bomb. We need to start writing all these merch ideas down.
Well, listen.
They do give us good, and then sometimes our viewers give us good merch ideas too. So
it's true. We're the idea factory over here.
We are.
Not to be confused with the Nightmare Factory.
No,
we're not.
No.
Anyway.
We're not. I mean, we might be a nightmare for some people, but
wow, I don't care. I mean, those people have no accounting for taste. How about that?
Yeah, fair.
Just saying. I mean, I actually have a hilarious thing that I want to share, but it's going to take me a second because, again, because when you're ready, please.
Very professional. Oh yeah, and see, we were before you get started, I'll go over here to Brad said. I mean, Daza was predicting.
Oh yeah, the hat predictions.
A green hat with frog eyes on it.
No,
which would be really cool though. And then Nikki guessed for Brad because Brad's not here today. A fancy hat with wide brim of some sort. I added my own words, but close enough.
You know what? I went out of my way to make sure to avoid any chance of anything looking wide brimmed because I knew, and I would not intentionally do that.
Nice. Just wait till Brad's
these are people that like show up for us every week, and they contribute to the Patreon. They talk in the Discord with me. I mean, I'm not going to do that. That'd be a dick move. I mean,
that would be, and Brad's
I'm not into that. So. Yeah. Plus, I don't have a good one yet. I feel good about I've got some future fair escapades planned, and they always have the artisans there. Always have good hats.
Yeah, I was like, so you'll be prepared with some cool stuff.
That will be fun, and I need some alternate hats, and I have a good one for the one that I've still saved for the winter.
Colin is here.
Hey,
Colin. Hello, Colin.
Welcome
Hi, Maggie.
Back. Thanks for
Maggie
being
here. Hello. Thanks for stopping by today. We appreciate that.
All right. Can slides finally show up? They did. I gotta show. So my week started with this wonderful, 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 wonderful picture.
Love it so much.
This is the cutest thing ever.
It is.
But to make it better, though, was this right here. And I had to clip your thing because this made me laugh out loud. I almost spit my spit take.
Oh no! I made you do a
And
spit
this
take.
is Sam's little. I don't know if you guys can see this as well because it's not perfect, but it's
For our
Sam
audio,
says,
for our audio listeners, Mel's gonna read you my tweet.
I'm gonna read what Sam tweeted on this. And for those of you who are on the audio, thank you for subscribing to the audio. But we do a lot of site stuff for our friends here at the live stream.
We have some visual stuff, and so if you
maybe
are
we'll make like me in a picture of my hat part of the $10 tier, but you know.
There you go.
Whatever. Yeah. But for now, you're going to. This is a Yoda. But the tweet was Sam said Yoda looks like he's on the cover of a romance novel and also can't believe it's not butter. And it was so funny. Like I had to share it with everyone. It just made my whole with all the crazy BS that was running around. It was a great graphic and it was a wonderful tweet to follow it up with.
Thank you.
And it was so good that it reminded me to actually save pictures so that we actually have.
Wow, that's an incredible compliment. That the tweet was so good that it made Mel remember to save it. So we actually remember to use graphics on things that are not our pre-show.
Well, yeah,
that we have that ability. Besides the big shows, we can use them anytime we want. We just usually forget because we did use them for so long. But yes, that picture of Yoda was great.
It's wonderful.
And if you are listening on the audio and have not seen it, we will figure out. Come to our Twitter. I don't think I retweeted it from the Powerbombshells account, but I will.
But we were talking about it. So we can certainly get a hold of it and we can probably drop it on our Insta.
Yes, because the image is
and our threads.
It is very
wonderful.
It very much reminded me of Fabio when I saw it. Nikki said when I showed it, she said it looks like a 90s movie poster as well. It does. Yoda's Diary.
Yes.
Coming to theaters September 12th.
Yoda will reach it's a rom-drom. It's a rom-drom. It's a rom-drom.
Yeah, definitely.
Or a rom-drom.
He's gonna do a dramatic reading of his diary.
There you go.
Dressed like Fabio. While eating. He can't believe it's not butter.
God, it just brings me back.
And speaking of the pre-show, I guess it's a good time to bring up that next week will be a very super early pre-show because of the All-In being earlier than our show is going to be earlier. So we are going to go live at 10:30 a.m. next Sunday to bring you our wonderful pre-show. We're going to run down the card and talk about all the excitement, get you hyped for the day. It's going to be, I was going to say it's going to be a long day, but I guess not. I mean, it's just earlier, but it'll
probably feel long because pay-per-views always feel long. And then it'll be over at a weird time for especially I think West Coasters will be a little more used to it because they're used to having things be over early. But for East and us East and Central folk, I think it's going to be a little weird because it's going to be 9 o'clock and we're going to be like, what's going on?
Yeah, because we're gonna. I think details are still being worked out for some other All-In coverage on our network. But I believe there is going to be some kind of a post something on the network, so we'll have you covered all day long. And by all day long, it might be over by 8 o'clock Eastern. But
we're going to be there. Dang it!
Yeah. Yes,
and it'll be covered.
All is in London, yes, and so we will be early next week. But then we have a pre-show the following week,
right? At the normal
covering
time.
All Out, but it'll be at our normal 1 o'clock time for that. But so next week, make sure we'll tweet it out a million times, I'm sure. But you turn your reminders on, and I believe Mel said you have to click all for it to come up to make sure that you get your reminder on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really picky. When you click on the bell, don't just click on the bell, click on the options and click all notifications for this network. Otherwise, it will randomly, it does the algorithm thing where it's based on what you were watching earlier about flower picking, we're going to send you some Joshi wrestling stuff. I mean, I don't know, but however the algorithm works. It's just
So just
like,
make sure you just have that reminder because we'll be here early next week at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. And so Mel and I are gonna come. So we'll get you typed up at 10:30 in the morning.
correct. Correct. And I should put it
And
up there for the folk who don't know, in case you're watching this without being subscribed, which no one would deign to watch without subscribing because it's so easy to just click the subscribe button.
it is. And then if you're listening to audio and want to come hang out with us next week, you can subscribe to youtube.com/Fike Media.
Okay.
And we will be here. And Daza excited that we mentioned Joshi, but we'll
See,
sadly be
hey,
at work. We'll sadly be at work during our show, so we will miss you next week, Daza. But I'm glad that you'll be there for that you'll get to see All In itself, which is cool. So then you can come when you
yeah,
can
I was.
give your comments.
Remember that you said you were working. I was like, I can't remember if Daza said that it wasn't working through the show at least.
Right.
And
I think
so
it's just through
that's what
our
really matters. I mean, I appreciate
clearly what really matters is our pre-show, and he will be working during that.
Well, no, I meant the regular show is the most important thing. I wanted to see that. I know.
No, I said what I said.
Dallas living the retail life. I understand the retail life.
Yeah, I've done that, and hopefully we'll never have to do that again. Daza said, by the way, I'm sad England women lost the World Cup final. Oh, that's disappointing. I heard that they had a really good team this year.
Our gals got knocked out fairly early this year. It's been a rough year.
Colin said I've clicked all on my notifications and I still don't get any. Yeah, YouTube.
You know what? They might be going to. I have this issue, and I think I've had to look around and fix it. But check your email that you use with this YouTube, that like with your with the one you're subscribed to, because my notifications go to my stupid email. I had to like switch it to go to my SMS so that it comes up on my phone's desktop. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like push notifications where the little YouTube thing flags.
You think it would come up on YouTube where you have it, or like if you have the app or whatever, it would come for that.
I'll go into my email and it's like all these missed notifications from the network, and I'm just like, guys, you're killing me here. I need it.
Or an alternative to that is if you have a reminders tab in your phone, you can always set a reminder in there.
That's true. It does link up.
I mean, you still have to open YouTube.
You know what?
Have a reminder to tell you, it's time to go listen to Sam and Mel hype me up. So let me go do that.
The world is full of possibilities.
Hey, I'm just giving you some alternatives.
It's true.
We can make it work. And also, speaking of alternatives and options, if you are not currently a Patreon for Fike Media, there's some new options for you. There's hopefully, listen, we apologize for this graphic in advance. It's very small, but we are just going with the graphic we currently have. we'll get a better one so you can see it. And it is on it is on the Instagram page where you could, if you go to the Powerbombshells Instagram, we've got it in our timeline because we made sure to have a stationary.
And if I move this thing right here, you can actually see it right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you're listening to audio at patreon.com/Fike Media, there is a $5 tier, which we've had, and they've added a few things to that. But now we also have a $10 tier. And in the $10 tier, you do get to listen to the audio of this show on the $10 tier. Eventually, the free feed that we currently have for our audio will be going away. So just keep that in mind. if you are currently an audio listener, it would only be that way a little bit longer, and then you'll have to, in order to get the audio, you will have to subscribe to the $10 tier.
That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Just be prepared.
We will be phasing out it. It's going to be November, basically. I mean, Halloween is kind of going to be the end point for our feed that we're currently running, and then you'll only be able to listen to us on the $10 tier of the Patreon. And I mean, that supports everyone here. It's not like, that goes to just here, but it actually helps everyone here like get bigger graphics It gives us time. It gives people the money to take the time out of their daily life to make slate-sized thingies instead of, because like nobody here. This is not like
Right,
anybody's main job.
No.
I mean, this is not like, we all do this stuff because we really, really love talking to you guys about it, and we really have a great time. And I think it's fun. I'm excited to try out that first the happy hour, the non-pressured happy hour. Like it's just what it's called. Like you can drink
so
whatever you want.
If you missed us talking about that before, the new happy hour thing is going to be something that happens monthly with just various Fight Game Media personalities, and you can come. It's just called happy hour. You're not pressured to drink alcohol. You can drink water, you can drink tea, you can drink whatever it is. You can drink nothing at all. You can just come hang out
talk with us
and shoot the breeze with everybody.
The idea of something that's at that time frame where we're all hanging out and just being normal humans talking about fun stuff. And
and then also with this, like with the $10 tier, you also get Garrett has a show that he's doing at the the first episode just aired on Friday, I believe, and he had Lance Storm on as guest. So if you want, I believe the video is actually up on YouTube, but the audio, and if you want to get it first, then that'll be in your $10 tier. And yes, Colin asks if we'll still be doing the YouTube show. Yes, definitely. We'll still be doing YouTube for sure. That's not going away.
This is the anchor. We are the original. We are the OG exclusive Fight Game Media live stream. So we will not be going anywhere on Sundays at 1.
Even when the NFL starts in a few weeks, we will still be on.
We'll have our games on in the background.
I will have football in the background. I've got baseball in the background right now.
I gotta put it out there because I haven't played in it's been 3 or 4, no, it's been 5 or 6 years now since I played fantasy. I was a commissioner. I used to play in 3 leagues. I commissionered 1 and played in 2 others for a couple years. And then I quit cold turkey, just ended it. Well, Fight Game Media internally, we're having a little fun and we're having a little league, and it's going to be hilarious. And I can't wait.
Interesting because and so I only usually have just do 1 league with some friends of mine. And then last year, my boss decided that he volunteered me to be his partner in the industry.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, but you have to pay attention to everything. And I'm like, how am I getting roped into this? And so now I have to pay close attention. And so now I'm doing this. And I was like, it's been a long time. So, and it's funny, and I love football, but baseball is my favorite. I follow baseball a lot more closely than I do, which is one of the reasons I do enjoy fantasy, because it helps me. That's how I got good with baseball. It helped me to learn people outside of my team's division and stuff like that, and to get to know other players and things like that. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. It helps me to learn who people are that I wouldn't normally keep up with. I'm not one of those people who will watch every single game during the NFL season. I will just keep up with. I only watch my team, and my team has been terrible for a while.
I watch my team, and I listen to the sports talk radio from Seattle, and they cover all the big names and all the big because sports talk radio usually does a good job of covering what's going on league wide. I actually like the guys that cover the Lions here are actually pretty awesome. They're a lot of fun. And it's kind of like the Seahawks people. I like this much better. I'm from New England, and I'm from Southern Maine and everything. So New England, the Boston radio network that everyone knows,
Yeah.
And literally they just do nothing but mark out for all their stars on the channel. It's all they do. It's all they talk about. It's just how great, and it's whereas these guys, the Lions and the Seahawks guys talk about football and talk about why isn't this team succeeding, and these guys. So it's more analytical. It's more like when we talk about wrestling and we're like, this is good and this is bad, and we're having a discourse and stuff like that.
Right.
And we're not just pro our team. Tom Brady's the greatest thing ever. It was. I'm censoring myself so hard right now. You have no idea.
If you're listening on the audio, I just rolled my eyes very hard. I'm surprised they didn't get stuck.
You better watch out. We turn that into reactions. We turn eye rolls into reactions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was the
That's true. I forgot about that.
The eye roll heard around the network, which was James McDaniel, is something that I believe CM Punk did, and it was such a like monumental eye roll that I made like a thing of it, and somebody screenshotted it and turned it into a reaction in our Discord. So we have a regular James react, and we have an eye roll James react.
That's pretty great when James is getting his own emojis in Discord.
You guys, we all have pretty much not we have a Powerbombshells logo. We don't have like our faces or anything because you and I haven't done, but there's a couple. The reacts are so much fun.
Yeah, like, I got it. One of these days, I guess I'll get over to Discord. We'll see.
You know how I feel about it. You got to do things in your own time.
I know. I appreciate it. Nobody does. Nobody pressures me to go over there. I have reasons,
but it is fun
on here.
Yes. I mean, the good news is it is fun.
Well, then maybe in the happy hour we can discuss you can listen to us talk about our fantasy football league.
It's just going to be so funny because of who is involved. And I love this network is so much fun, and everyone on it is
it was brought to us as a team building type of thing, just to kind of get to know each other. And I was like, and not to know each other, but like to know each other even better into another, which is funny because
like to do something outside of wrestling. Basically.
Yeah, now you're doing something extremely competitive. So we might find out the people who are sore losers or people who
it's
who are extremely competitive.
I'm kind of okay. So my problem is it's not about the competition because I know I'm going to do terrible and I have no expectation of winning. And if I were to,
same,
I'm just like, so I don't care. I'm kind of a trash talker.
Oh God, they're gonna ask.
It's not in. I don't.
They're gonna ask what was Mel's best insult of the week.
I don't mean to be, but sometimes it's like my dad used to say, engage your brain before you engage your mouth. And I think that's like great advice. And I try to live by that. But there's sometimes in certain circumstances when it comes to it. And it's not like I mean, I'll back it up as it were, but back it up. Well, let me trade my kicker from Minnesota and I'll get you with my kicker. But I can't help myself sometimes. If someone like puts something out there that's too much for it's just too easy.
Yeah.
They
are setting themselves up, then that's what they deserve.
But it's okay because it'll be fun. I know that this group can actually handle this. So and if they can't, then I mean I'll get put in timeout.
I think they can handle it. I think we can handle it.
I think we'll be good. And if not, it'll make
people. It's nothing personal. It's just playing fantasy football.
And if not, we'll know. We'll know where the lines are. Everyone will know who has heat with everyone on the network. Our feuds can culminate on the happy hour.
Yeah. Listen, the timekeepers, we've already got tag team and everything.
We can compete for the BT championship belt. We can start making up games for who wins. The fight game media.
I'm not playing that damn game where you throw your water bottle in the trash can.
We're starting a fight game media belt.
Somebody get some cardboard and some tinfoil.
I'm making it if we do that. I'm the crafty one.
That would be
the one that works with kids and then you send it to
the winner, and the winner has to put it on their show. That would actually be really funny.
We should. That should be the prize.
We should talk to the group about that.
So stay tuned for all of that, folks.
Yeah. So subscribe to the $10.
It's gonna make football season even more fun.
With maybe on one of the happy hour episodes is you making the belt. We'll just all watch you make it.
That's hilarious. I could actually take pictures or do some video with that. That would be hilarious. That would
Give you
go
some
up there.
good content on the Power Bombshells Instagram and Twitter.
Well, I mean, they are doing video stuff. Like you can get the video of the boom instead of the audio, which is a lot of fun because they do some like site gimmicks sometimes. They don't mean to, but they end up doing it, and maybe that'll be better.
Also, another way, if you don't want to join the Patreon, or you're on the fence about it, or if you're actually if you're a Patreon subscriber, that does not apply to you. But we do have the super chat option here on Facebook, and I mean Facebook on
Facebook.
I don't know where that came from, on YouTube, and we will be happy to if you send us some money, we'll be happy to read your stuff. As always, we do have our $25 option to read something mean. It can't be racist, sexist, misogynistic, anything that falls into anything inappropriate. We will not read it, and we will keep your money.
Correct.
But you can give it a try for $25 and read it.
And that goes straight into the pockets of everybody. Like it gets dispersed.
That goes straight into making the Fight Game Media belt.
That's right. That's right. That's
if you want to help fund this belt.
I mean, listen, I'm pretty thrifty at Joann's and Michael's because actually, you know what I might do? Because my mother-in-law is like the super craftiest person, everything. Like she has everything. We could oh man, Bob's like sitting in the other room going, we're definitely going to my mom's house and doing this. We could make the goofiest film.
I'll tell him that he has the film content.
The Fight Game Media Fantasy Football Champion of all time, Universal Championship or something.
And they'll have a bunch of letters, like kind of like the 24/7 when R-Truth had the 24/7
or the FTW or
like Interstate 77 title.
Anybody can challenge the Fight Game Media. We can challenge each other for it anytime.
Oh my god, that would be so many ideas. Garrett's gonna be like, oh yes, we did. Vinkin says you forgot Undisputed. We did. Undisputed has to be in the title.
This is why we have to workshop this with you guys. This is what I'm saying. I'm writing this down. Seriously.
Well, it's not a real title. It doesn't have the word Undisputed in it.
We need an Undisputed Universal Fight Game Media Champion.
Yes.
And we can bring out belts and make just like we can carry it in a bag or something. That'll be funny if it makes appearances on other shows. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
And then when it gets retired, it can go to the Boom Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this is true. Look at this workshop and stuff. Fight Game Media, they're gonna be like, "What in the world were y'all doing? I thought y'all were talking about wrestling on your show today."
What?
They're like, "Fight Game Media's gonna be like, why are you planning stuff for our belt, our football?" Because
it'll be funny, and people will be asking us about it. So anyway, also I think
talk about is pro wrestling.
Well, see, this is the thing is that I think that deep down in our souls, because it was such a pain in the ass week about wrestling and everything. The horn is going off. That's the sign that we need to talk about pro wrestling. But
not talking about your wrestling belt. Nature wants to hear about what happened in
my town is hilarious. My friends say that I live in Silent Hill.
I hope not.
Between the weather and the horns and the train, it's just like
sometimes it'll come on and you'll be like, "Oh, I can hear it," and I'm like, "I don't hear anything," but that one's loud and clear, very much. Maybe they want to be the Undisputed.
Well, there's also the first weekend of the month. Like I don't think it is right now. It's not, but on the first weekend of the month, they will blare the thing for like ever. They just turn it on and just
walk off,
blare it. It's like, yeah, we hear it. I think they're done. It's up the actual horn is up the street for me. I have a theory that they play with it sometimes. I think that they overreach their authority. Like I just think that
they get a little
I've looked into it. I've looked into it. They don't there's no protocol for them to tell you what it means. There's no like timing thing. They usually sound it at noon. That's usually most of the time a thing is a noon horn, and it's just like one horn. And then the first week of the month, they'll like blare it for a ridiculously, like, it's comical. Like comical. And all the dogs in the neighborhood are howling.
Oh, I'm sure
and
they
it's
love it. I'm sure.
ridiculous. And then stuff like what just happened. And
Yeah.
there's no like, then they're like, and we won't give you an all clear and we won't do this. I'm like, well, you will sound it off whenever you want to, but you won't do a really lot of stuff.
Yes.
So
So
WTF.
how do you know when like it's a real side or like that there's something wrong? Like there you need to actually pay attention to it. Like, do they tell you that?
Sometimes they like boffed it. They like totally biffed it a couple years, like last year. I think it was last summer. On we almost, if there had been a thunderstorm cell in the area, we would have had a tornado basically right here. We had one about like it was essentially like the town over from ours. It's not very far away. And that did actually touch down, but it was small. And the horn did not go off for that. It was like, but I did get a text alert, which I guess is good considering that the people in Hawaii definitely didn't. And
right. Yeah.
It's so,
but you would think that's the whole
but
point of the siren.
I mean, it's not installed for tornadoes. It was installed for it's a police thing. It's a police and fire. So it's like the 12 counties around us. I know. It's so weird.
Wow. Very interesting.
All right.
So Venkin says that with the belt, we also need mist and you can't leave. And Grace says the hype train is next. Apparently,
I do call it the hype train. When it comes at the right times, I call it the hype train.
Because so is it hyping us up because it likes the idea of the spell?
But I like the idea of the spell.
Yeah, I do too. So we'll have to present
that
a
long time,
or we'll just tell them to watch the first like half an hour of this episode because that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah,
we'll timestamp it and be like, go listen to our idea and then come back and write down notes and come back.
While we're talking about challenges, I believe that I was instructed in the Discord to remind and ask you. You hung out on the Mike and JD feed, right? The other
day.
The
comments.
Did I
was in the comments.
In the comments, obviously. Yes, thank you for clarifying. Sam was in the comments. Our friends Mike and JD launched their show over on Voice of Wrestling. They as they put it, no beef, no nothing. It was a lot of fun to watch them.
But love for those guys. There's no
I will never stop watching and listening to them. They're the best.
Yeah.
But so JD's at disdain at you for not having watched Can't Buy Me Love yet. So did you catch his challenge?
Yeah, I did. I did catch his challenge. I responded to his challenge and said I liked it and actually have been meaning to tweet him and ask him what the limit is of how many songs I can put on there. So they have been trying to get me to watch. So
I will update JD then.
I think it was like last October, maybe September. I don't know. Last fall,
it was for one of their Brace for Impact show. It was for one of the pay-per-views, right?
I was a guest on Mike and JD's. At the time, it was still the Brace for Impact show. I was telling them that I don't watch Impacts live because generally, depending on the time of the year, I am watching Grey's Anatomy live. I have been watching since the beginning. I have seen every single episode. I still watch it. And so they asked me if Patrick Dempsey was still on there. And I was like, no, they killed him off several seasons ago. So they asked me if I had ever seen Can't Buy Me Love. I had not. And that turned into a big, mini scandal because I'd not seen that movie before. And so they were like, you need to watch it. I was planning to, and then I didn't get to it. Then for a couple of months, I actually forgot all about it. And then I remembered, and then they clearly did not forget. And so we talked about it again, and I was like, well, it's G1 season. Absolutely not watching it. I'm trying to catch up on most of the G1. I was behind until the last week. And so G1 is now over. And Nikki, it was funny because last night Nikki was like, we were trying to figure out after Collision because we wanted to watch last GCW from last Friday And she's like, or should we watch Can't Buy Me Love so you don't get in trouble? But so we are planning to watch it probably this week. But so when they were giving me shit and they're about how I haven't seen it on their new show Thursday, they just said that if I watch it, they want me to come on the Mike and JD Patreon and review it. And if I watch it, JD will listen to country music, because they were having a conversation about Chris Stapleton. And I was saying that Chris Stapleton is pretty much the only country singer I listen to now. I grew up listening to country. Like, I love 90s country. It's like one of my favorite genres ever. And
It's
so
the David Lovell. He tags me every week for his 90s country show. I try to listen. I'm not as good as I should be, but since we had the similar conversation to the conversation they had,
yeah,
because they were talking specifically because they watched one was I think Mike watched a Ken Burns documentary on and I'm with them. They were talking about like documentaries on like Ricky Dozan. I'm like, yes. And that was when JD said to me, okay, so you need to make sure that Sam takes me up on my challenge.
I will. I knew I should have tweeted him yesterday and asked him. Yes. So if
review it with them.
If it is not clear, JD, I accept your challenge. I will watch the movie. I will come on your Patreon show and I will review it with you. And in turn, you will listen to country music songs that I select. I guess we need to work out the details and find out what your limit is. I mean, like, can I give you 20 songs? Because I could easily give you 20 songs.
I was gonna that was gonna be what I was.
What is your limit?
I know you're on the same page, girl. Thank you so much. Because the first thing
Nikki,
I was gonna ask was like, how many?
Because Nikki was in the room with me, so she heard it and she was like giving me song suggestions. So Nikki's gonna help me figure this out. Chris Stapleton will clearly be on there.
How about the length of the movie? How about you get to give him a number of songs that are the length of the movie? It'll only be like 90. Wow. Like you make him like a 90-minute playlist or something.
I gotta see if JG will accept that. It was funny though, because when he said you can make me playlist, and Mike said with the Dixie Chicks, and JD said, "Am I talking to you? Are you Sam?" That's what it was.
He was so upset. He was so outraged. The JD outrage, like legit, like not like angry at Sam, but hilarious. It was hilarious outrage. It was some of the most hilarious. I enjoyed every minute of it. I was like, I would just want you to watch it because I know that you'll enjoy it. Yeah. I also think it's hilarious because Patrick Dempsey is one of the 3 famous people from Maine that everyone like. Oh, yeah, so, and I'm from Maine, and so like Maine is so small and backwater. Like we're very small, so we get very excited that Stephen King, Maury Povich, and Patrick Dempsey are from Maine. And so he went to school. He's in Lewis. He was from Lewiston, Maine. He went to a different high school. He went to Bucksfield High School. But Lewiston, Maine, their high school, their public high school, was the high school that Carrie, that Carrie was based around.
Oh, okay.
Which will be a JD if he was listening to that would be like, oh my god, But so he is from Lewiston, so he's from the town that the high school was. So it's funnier. And I had friends that we went camping in the summer and they were all from I had probably half dozen friends from Lewiston. It's like 30, 40 minutes from New England is easy. It's like you can drive 40 minutes and be in a different state altogether. So it's really, and I think you'll actually enjoy it because it's an OG one of those movies. I'm not going to spoil it.
I think I really like it. I just have not gotten around. I
don't want to tell you anything.
I really do want to see it. And so it's on, and then I found there's multiple, I think it's on Prime Video, but I heard that when I was looking the other day to see if it was still on Prime Video, apparently it's also on Disney Plus, and apparently it's also on Tubi. So there are various ways, it sounds like, for me to watch this film.
it's so funny.
planning to get to it soon. I guess I need to reach out to JD today to make the parameters of our bet and find out what we're doing exactly and get all that in place and prepare to watch it. Hopefully this
Or
week.
and if I remember, I can just like let him know in the Discord that you accepted live on our show
I will
today, and
accept. I will tweet out that I accepted. I will tag him.
he would know if he had been listening.
Exactly. Nikki said she's taking this very seriously on helping me get together those lists, because I mentioned this song the other day and she was like, "Oh, that's a good song, but there's better ones. You should pick this song," because we were talking about like which artists that you have to have on there, and I was like, well, of course we have to have. You can't have a country playlist without having Garth Brooks on there, but Garth Brooks doesn't have a lot of his music on Spotify, but I did find there's a live album of his that's on there. So I was like, well, I'll take at least one song from there. So I have a couple of ideas. It just depends on what JD will allow me to do. I do like the idea of making it as long as the movie. I think that's fantastic, but I don't know if JD is willing to listen to 90 minutes of country music.
I mean, I don't know what the exact runtime is.
I don't either. It might be an hour and 17 minutes or something like that.
It just can't be, especially because of the timing it was in. It just so happened it was one of those movies, and I was the right age, and they always played it in a rotation on cable,
which is so interesting because like I don't remember, like I didn't hear about the movie until I was older, so like I don't know if I didn't have access
I think
to
see
it,
like you're closer to my sister, you're a little closer to my sister's age, and I don't remember if she watched it with me as much as I watched it. This is making me though want to rewatch it, and I was laughing because I'm like, I bet you $100 that I could like, I will be watching it and quoting parts of it. It'll be like that because I saw it so many times as a kid, like or as a young person. I want to say tween or early teen probably was when it was on the rotation. Of the because like the cable stations would essentially have like the same movies that they would show, and so they'd show something like once in the morning and then another time at night, and you would like figure out the schedule and know where it was like, I'm gonna catch Flatliners again at 3:30.
Daza said that he has never seen this film.
It's either. Come on, you guys! It's so.
I don't wonder if it's available. I wonder if it's available in the UK because it's old. I mean, it came out in the 80s, right?
80s. So, yeah, I think it's an 80s movie. I don't want to like build this up as some like epic film. It's just a rom-com, but
it's an 80s rom-com. It's like,
but it's
type of like because like I love like The Breakfast Club is like one of my favorite movies. Like love The Breakfast Club. 16 Candles, stuff
you're gonna love all the references, you're gonna love all the clothes, you're gonna love all of it. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry.
I'm excited. I really want to see. I just haven't. I've got to stop putting it off. So,
and I have to watch it again just because it's like I know because I remember being like a kid and watching it and when it had first come out and everything else. So I know it will be like it's funny to watch movies that are very dated but have been in my life.
Yeah, that's gonna say it'll be very dated because of obviously the time frame that it in. But
I'm an 80s fun
kid,
if you like movies.
I will enjoy it.
No, you'll love it. I know you'll have fun with it. Even if you hated the movie, you would still have a ton of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I know, and I'm
going into it with like not super high expectations, but I'm going with it thinking that I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to laugh.
It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be funny to see Pat Dempsey in that time frame because I know like what a big deal, like when he was cast on Grey's Anatomy, like I remember it being a big deal. Like a lot of women were like, oh my god, that's the guy from Can't Buy Me Love, and they were like, so it was a really big deal. I do remember that. And then of course, I mean, obviously for people who had watched Grey's Anatomy and know the character of Derek Shepherd and things like that, so it's definitely I'm looking forward to watching it. So I will. Yes.
It was such a funny I love media fads. It's hilarious.
And it's funny because he like outgrew the McDreaminess because of like all the stuff that his character went through before he died and stuff, and they kind of quit. That was just like a season long thing where it was the McDreamy thing, but it's the thing that people still remember who like don't watch the show or are surprised it's still on like that. But that was such a little slice of that show, but it's of course one of those things that that's the pop culture picks up on, and that's
Yep.
and so
yes, I love it. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm
So
excited.
challenge accepted. The gauntlet was thrown down. The gauntlet was picked up. It's ready to go.
Ready to go. We just got to work out. We got to take that gauntlet and I got to hammer out some of the details, and then we'll get this going, and I'll let you guys know when I will be going on the Mike and JD Patreon. So if you want to see it live,
and that'll be great because you'll have to subscribe to their Patreon too, I guess.
Yeah. So it'll be help a friend out and have some fun. And
my God, it's almost as if we can like work with other people and encourage and like be synergistic and not have beef with each other.
Funny how that works.
Crazy.
All right, now that we're like 45 minutes in and haven't talked about any wrestling
Sam, Jesus, what are you just how you just chatting over here? No,
I know.
I'm totally giving it. It's me. I actually have I've knighted myself the queen of tangents, and it comes from like back in the day, so that's all right. But no one's complaining yet, so I think we're doing okay.
Yes, hopefully so.
Let's move on. Let us continue.
So one of obviously the big stories this week was Edge has apparently, from what he is saying, has wrestled his last match in WWE on his current contract. And he wrestled in the main event Friday night against Sheamus. And I was going to flip it over there and forgot that I don't have Fox still because DirecTV took Fox away from me because they're fighting with their parent company.
You have a regional beef going on.
Yeah, we have a regional
satellite provider.
Cannot watch Fox. Have not been able to watch it for several months, and I found this out because I went to watch a Braves game and could not watch it. And so and then it wasn't back. This has been back since before the All-Star break. So
wow,
it's been since July that I've not early July. At least that's what I found out. I don't know. It may have gone on longer than this. So I complained about it 2 weeks in a row because I didn't get to because I missed the second game that they had on Fox. And so they were nice enough to give me a $10 credit for a month. And now I've been getting DirecTV has been calling and offering me things. I don't know if they were already going to offer these things anyway, because people are obviously just fed up with cable in general, or if this is to kind of make up for not having Fox. So like they gave me 2 months of HBO Max for free. They gave me some random package with like
they definitely don't want you to quit.
With like there's like three Hallmark channels. Like we don't really watch Hallmark as it is. There's like 3 Hallmark movie channels, some thing called MTV Live. I would have preferred MTV Classic, but that's neither here nor there. So that's free for like 3 months. Then the other day they gave me Showtime for 3 months, half off. So it's like $5 a month. So can I just have Fox back?
Is it?
And so a friend of mine was saying that I have some friends I have friends in Georgia who they don't have NBC because of this same beef. They still have Fox, but not NBC. And I was talking to somebody the other day who doesn't have Fox or NBC because of this. And so, but a friend of mine pointed out early on, and I think he's right. He was like, this is going to go on until the NFL starts. He was like, because they know
the NFL will end it.
Yep. And he's like, so you're probably not going to have Fox until the first week of football, which is probably correct. And so
I'm surprised they haven't done it during preseason because
that's kind of what I wondered. But preseason's not on Fox, though. Like in some places it's not. So I don't know if that's why.
I wonder about in a rush. There's like local affiliate problems there. Yeah. So you can't get your local news.
If I watch that channel, no, I can't. But I don't watch my news on that channel. I watch it on a different channel, and I have that. I have ABC, so that's an
Because I
ABC is
know
what we
that
watch.
I think here in the Detroit metro, you can get all of the news channels are on you. They have like a live stream on YouTube
Yeah.
or like so you can
Yeah, I mean, I
access them.
follow like I can still get my news.
They've
I
got
have
to be
their
worried you're gonna go. Who does your internet? Is it like Xfinity, Comcast?
no, my internet is through because I have AT&T, so my internet is
Oh,
through.
you do them.
I mean, I
Like you
have
do the whole
DirecTV,
thing.
and then my internet's through AT&T, and
Okay.
so that's how I still have that. But yeah, so anyway,
But
so
is
yeah, so I
Xfinity or
couldn't watch.
Comcast around you? Because those channels you can actually on their apps you can
I
watch
don't
the
think that
TV.
I don't know what our
So
access to
they
Comcast.
might be trying to keep you because like for us it's Xfinity, they do our internet. And as part of our because we get the PC Gamer, PC Master
Yeah.
Race internet. So
Uh-huh.
we get Peacock for free still, and we get the option to watch internet TV. So we can watch most of our Comcast channels or Xfinity
Mhm.
channels online on their app.
Right. Right.
So we could get
Yeah.
around like that's
Yeah,
a
and I don't see
workaround.
that's the thing. Like I can't I tried to they were like,
They don't
oh,
want to
try
lose
watching
you.
it through the Fox Sports app. And I got to watch 4 innings of a game and it kicked me out. And I haven't been able to use the app since then. So I told
That's
them, I was like,
annoying.
you've all my options. And I don't subscribe to the package that has Fox Sports Deportes. So if I wanted to watch it and just with Spanish comment, like I could, there is that option, but I don't subscribe to that package, so I don't have access to that. So every way that they've offered me to be able to watch it, I can't. Which is what I keep trying to explain to them. I'm like, you've completely blocked me from. I can't watch on the app. I can't watch on Fox's website. You've blocked me because it says, oh, the station doesn't carry it anymore. Yeah. So every way I have to watch it, I can't. So I did not get to see. Didn't get to see Edge versus Sheamus, which Venkin says was a great for a TV match. And I heard really good stuff. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch. I heard that they had a really good package kind of like chronicling his career that they showed like earlier in the show. I'm assuming that's probably up on WWE's YouTube. And then I saw a clip of him talking after the show went off the air, and I know that there's a full like 4-minute clip, but I saw like the little 30-second clip where he was saying that he told the fans, he's like, I don't know if this is my last time wrestling in front of you. I have to talk to my family because Beth and the kids were in the crowd. I heard that like Beth was crying, the kids were crying, like apparently everybody was crying and stuff. And so it seems like it was a really nice moment, if that is the end of his WWE career, that they sent him off nicely. Somebody was telling me, they're like, I'm just glad I didn't bury him on the way out, and they gave him.
That is nice.
As far as we know, I mean, there's always the chance that Edge has worked something out last minute and will be back in WWE. But there are obviously the rumors that he is headed to AEW. One of the reasons there is that rumor is because he was actually in talks to join AEW before he went back to WWE, because apparently from the fight, because I knew before that he had been talking to them and then ended up, but from the Fightful, the Select that came out, I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was, I think it was yesterday, Edge had been talking with AEW, and they didn't know yet if he was going to be cleared or not, but they're still talking to him about joining in some sort of capacity. And it says that Edge contacted Vince McMahon and was like, hey, this is what's happening. And Vince was like, go see our doctors. He did. He got cleared. So, and they signed him. So it's really interesting. So he does obviously have the relationship. There's some other reasons. I'll get into where I think he's going, but what are your thoughts on it, Mel? What do you think is happening here?
I haven't decided, but I just don't see him in AEW. I don't see him going that route. I think that, really? I mean, or maybe because Christian's there, and there's a chance that them and the Hardys could have like here's the picture there for
here, because I'll go with what I think is going to happen, but
it's I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean it is. But if he doesn't go to AEW, do you think he's done wrestling altogether?
I think that either he goes back to WWE or he's just done. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was just done. He's made a ton of money. He's a smart dude. He's got I'm kind of with Jim Valley on this almost. Like from yesterday, I was watching his listening to his stream, and I was like, yeah, he's got he's got his pretty wife and his beautiful family and his wonderful, and I mean, if she's happy there, and I mean, why? I mean, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to go. I mean, the only thing that always is the thing that's like a big factor is the fact that like AEW has a set schedule.
So the reason I think he's going to AEW, I'm pretty much convinced at this point he's going.
Okay. All right.
I think he's going because I think he wants to finish up with Christian. I think they got that moment in the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago, and that was it. I don't think he wants to end on that. I do think that he will have at least one final match, and it will be against Christian. But I do think that they will have it, even if it's a short-lived tag team run where it's just a few months. I do think that they'll do one last match with the Hardys, because that was the epitome of their careers, as far as they put wrestling on the map in the 90s, when they didn't really care about tag team wrestling. They defied everything. Of course, there was Team 3D, but it was those four men who put tag team wrestling on the map in the 90s, and a lot of things that came after them are because of them. And I think that they're going to wrestle the Young Bucks, because that's a match that's never happened before, and I think that they are going to want I think they're going to want to have that match, because that match would have never been possible 5 years ago, but now it's something that's possible. And I think that doesn't necessarily, I could see Edge retiring in AEW, but I would also see him doing this run, going back to WWE, retiring officially there. I think regardless of what he does, he'll be in the Hall of Fame, even if Vince gets a little mad at it for going to wrestle in AEW for a little bit. I think he'll eventually be in the Hall of Fame one way or another. But I think he will, because I think there's a lot of criticism on his last few years in WWE and the way he was booked and the way he was handled. And he can take a look at Sting and be like, you know what? Look at what they're doing for Sting. Sting had a really terrible run in WWE. It was awful. It was a waste of time. And now he's in AEW and he's getting to do these things. Christian is in a prominent spot. I could just see that that's what I think, that if he goes, I don't expect him to sign maybe more than a year. He could potentially do 2 years if he wanted to. But I think he wants to get those I think he wants to do the match with Christian, and I see the Hardy Boys match happening, and probably the Young Bucks. Maybe they do a couple of other tag teams that I think, even they could even do with Aussie Open. So I think,
Jeez, I listing these matches off, and now I'm like, I could watch that.
And I kind of think if they're going, because I was like, well, there's two, obviously the big deal would have him come to Wembley. Like, you can't get bigger than that. Like, Wembley needs something huge. You could debut him there.
I was going to ask you, would he be okay to be at Wembley? That's next weekend.
No, his contract expired, so he has no, as far as I understand, because of the expired, it just expired, and he didn't re-sign. There's no non-compete clause, because they released him.
Like a no-brainer to have him.
So from my understanding, I could be wrong, but from what I understand, because the contract expired, there's no 30-day non-compete. There's none of that. So he could potentially show up at Wembley next week.
Christian is going to be involved in that card, so
they could potentially, obviously, the following week is the match at All Out with between Luchasaurus and Darby for the TNT Championship. We all know that Christian thinks that's his title. He defended it last night, which I didn't realize until today. I wasn't thinking about it. I was trying to find a picture of Edge for us to use, and a couple people made the comparison of both Edge and Christian main evented a day apart. They had Edge main evented Friday, Christian main evented last night. Who knows if that was on purpose? Jim Ross did mention that he signed both Edge and Christian. He mentioned it during commentary last night that he signed both of them to the WWE. He could have just been playing up the internet rumors, of course. But I could definitely. It
might be smarter to go with All Out, just because All In is full now and All Out is not.
He could just show up and not do anything. Like, he could just show up and they have him. just
But if
to get
they
the
do the
fan
thing that they
reaction.
do where basically everyone knows that that's going to happen, that could sell a lot of pay-per-views.
Well, and that's but they could also sell them. They're what, 400 tickets away from selling how many ever tickets. If there's the possibility, that's what I told Nikki last night. I was like, if I were in London and I was a wrestling fan, had not bought my ticket to All In yet, and I know that there's a possibility that Edge could show up, that would probably make me buy a ticket. So they could potentially, and so they could sell tickets based off the idea that he could be there, and then maybe he doesn't come until All Out. It's not like it's a bait and switch or anything. They're not advertising him.
No,
Or
they haven't
we
really
could
talked about it.
also, or there's also, I don't think that they're going back to Daly's Place anytime soon, but I did dream a few months ago that Edge and Christian reunited in AEW. It was at Daly's Place.
Well, there you
Of
go.
all
So what is
places.
that? No,
But-
Grand Slam is in Long Island.
Yeah, that's it. So I don't know. They were just at Daly's Place like 3
don't
weeks
know.
ago, so I don't know when they're going back. But so I think it could happen. I think that it's certainly possible that they could do this if he wanted to, of course. I mean, I'm sure he's got to talk to his family and got to see
mean, if
where
he-
he's out health wise and things like that. And and he's so I could see it happening. I think it's more likely to happen than not. That's what I'm going with. That's my well, I was like, I don't know if it's really a hot take, because I think a lot of people are guessing the same thing, because I think it's the same way as you. Is either he is going to AEW to finish up with Christian, he's going back to WWE, or he's just done. So.
Well, I mean, those obviously those are the three choices. Yeah. I just feel like he would be, if he's not going to go to AEW, he will either get WWE could money talks, like people. Yeah. I mean, everyone has a price. Like
right. Money does talk, but also, I mean, at this point in his career, he has he has money. He's, like you said. So he could be like, you know what? I want to finish up on my terms. I want to have this match with Christian. I want to have one last match with the Hardy Boys. I want to wrestle the Young Bucks, because there's
more possibilities for AEW.
Yeah,
and the schedule is way more set, and it's flexible for him, because he can only work this day or only work that day, or I mean, he could be on Wednesdays, he could be on Saturdays, whatever.
Right. So I definitely think it's possible. And then so Daza said, is it possible that if he goes to AEW, they can do some type of different Impact brings in the Dudleys to have one last? I know. And then he asked if the Dudleys even are. So Bully Ray is still wrestling. Devon is not. However, Impact 1000 is coming up, and they will both be on the show. It's the first time they've been together in 7 years. But I don't know what Devon's in-ring capacity is. And Vinkin said he heard that Devon isn't able to do a match anymore. Yeah, and so I think for what they're talking about for Impact 1000, I think is just an appearance type thing. I mean, he might be able to pull off a 3D or something like that. Like, Bully Ray's been feuding with Scott D'Amore. Could I see them doing a 3D on Scott D'Amore? Yeah. And that's kind of it. And so I can see that that's a possibility. So I don't know I don't know what his status is as far as in-ring goes. I would personally not want to see Bully Ray in AEW, but he keeps claiming that he can get them to 1 million viewers. So maybe
doesn't Devon do broadcasting? Isn't that what he's doing?
Who, Devon?
Yeah.
I'm not positive what
like
he's
he
doing.
Was on a table for something that
he might have been. And then like his kids, I know, have wrestled a few times on Dark. They are wrestling here and there, but I don't know that they are. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what maybe there's some kind of an appearance they could do. I'm hoping that if they are bringing in anybody from Impact, I hope it's Motor City. I would like to see a Motor City versus. I want to see Motor Cities versus the Hardys again, and I know the Hardy Boys want that match.
Awesome.
Matt Hardy was talking about it recently on his podcast. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it would depend on what Devon's able to do, what his abilities are.
I'm less. I mean, personally, I'm less interested.
And what? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm less interested in that too, personally. Josiah asked if we power bombshell. Did we power bomb a shell this week? Yes,
Not
every week.
we are out there power bombing shells on the daily.
Yes.
Thanks for coming, Josiah. Good to talk
Josiah
to
says Motor City versus the Bucks is a feud that never ends, and it shouldn't. Yeah, I want that as many times as I can
I'll
get that
watch
match
it.
as I will take it. Vinkin says according to Cage Match, Devon hasn't wrestled since 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. So that could be reasons why. And also, speaking of Motor City, real quick, I don't know that Steven and or Jeremy is watching this, but I do want to respond to their conversation they had on speaking of Strong Style on Thursday, because I was watching, but then I think when they had this conversation, I had left to eat dinner. And so I missed this conversation until I saw the clip. And the question was, do you belt Tanahashi tonight at Multiverse?
Right.
And have Alex Shelley drop the belt to him. So I was advocating for Tana to take the title back when Josh Alexander was injured. And
when my favorite wrestler in the whole wide world didn't have
And so Mike and JD were advocating for it. I was listening
to
Mike's
been tweeting belt Tanahashi.
Yeah, so I was months. So at the time when the first Multiverse was happening, yes, I was for Tana. Now no. I want Alex Shelley to keep the title. The story is Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander. That is the story. And I think the question was, are Impact fans tuned into New Japan? I think a lot of them are, because they have Bullet Club members in Impact. Kevin Knight is frequently there. Kushida is there. So they have, and then obviously right after Impact ends on Access, then New Japan comes on for an hour.
Right.
And stuff like that. And so I would not listen. I love Tanahashi. I would not be mad if he won the title. But I think the timing would have been, if they were going to do it, it should have been with Josh Alexander was hurt. Josh Alexander is back. He's working his way. I don't think he's going to have to work his way very long to get back into the title picture. I do think that's the match that's going to happen in October at what is their October show? I just blanked on the name, but and Alex, and the other story is to even get Alex Shelley to this, that Alex Shelley fought for 20 years to get this title and to get the respect that he deserves. Chris Sabin has had the title before already. They were both holding the singles titles at the same time, and Sabin lost it a few weeks later to Leo Rush. And so I would say no. But I would not be mad if it happened because it's Tana and I love him.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because belt Tanahashi might kill Bert in the distance. Exactly. Yes. Thank you. It's true. That's exactly what I was saying. It's so funny.
Josiah says he's okay with Shelley keeping it. Man, Tana would be awesome. It would be. Like, I'm not doubting that whatsoever. Like, if they decide that, if they're like, you know what, Alex Shelley's 3-month run is enough. We're putting it on the Ace of the Universe.
Not really in the main storyline right now.
I would prefer for Alex Shelley because it took him 20 years to get it. I would like him to hold it for more. I really thought they were going to make him drop it to Nick Aldis. I thought I was preparing myself for him to lose it. And Josiah says, I mean, it's Tanahashi. I don't think anyone could be unhappy with it. Also, Bound for Glory is the name. Thank you. Because I was just talking about Bound for Glory 2 days ago, and so I don't know why I forgot the name all of a sudden. But yes, so I just wanted to make that little
count on people like Josiah and the people in our cast.
This is why we need you guys. I told you there's so much wrestling. Sometimes it's hard to keep all of this in our brains of what's coming up. But I am gonna watch Multiverse tonight. I don't know if I'll get to, because apparently it's live at 5:00. Hopefully we'll be done by 5:00. Just kidding. But
the rate we're going, I don't know.
I don't know if I'll get to catch. I don't know if I'll get to catch live. It might be.
This is too long to put on the feed.
That's right. And I think they're recording something football related in a little bit on the StreamYard. But
it'll be fine. But
I don't know if I'll get to watch it live. It might be later on tonight. So no, I will not be watching Can't Buy Me Love tonight because I am going to watch that. But I will probably get to that.
I mean, I don't think it'd be a big deal, and they could build Tanahashi because he's not part of the main storyline in New Japan right now, really. But I think,
but he's not part of the storyline in Impact either.
My only argument would be that he's not going to be a long-term. He's not
right,
gonna, like,
which is why he should have done it.
Could like beat Josh Alexander and hold the belt for a long time, and he could have a long run, or Josh Alexander gets the belt back and he carries the belt for it. So I mean, those two are regulars in.
Which is why that's why I argued for Tana to win it back when Josh Alexander first got hurt, because it would be
it would have made way more sense back then.
It would have, yeah. If they were gonna do it, it should have happened then.
But he was going to be doing the G1, so he would have been gone for.
Yeah, but I mean, they still had. Yeah, but and so I know that's probably why they didn't do it. But I don't.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Probably their mindset was probably something in that vein, where it was like, this guy can't be on TV every week with us during a big chunk of his run. So
yeah, and so Josiah says Tanahashi is the greatest babyface of all time. I'm sure Shelly is winning. I'm glad he beat out us. Me too. Pre-show starts at 4:15, so Josiah said to hurry it up. You got 2 hours.
Snap, ladies.
Josiah also says that Tana had a heck of a G1. Everyone was like, Tanahashi is broken down, can't go. And then he goes and kills it in the G1, working with new limitations, but still. Yeah,
he actually did.
He knows his limitations.
He shocked me in the G1. I felt like I was actually ashamed of myself a little bit for doubting him. I was like, that's the ace of the universe that you were doubting there. And now
how dare you?
What's wrong with you? I felt like literal shame a little bit, because there was like some of those matches he had. I mean, it was like, dude, he just keeps doing it. It's amazing.
Yeah. So Tana could very well be a champion. Like, he would be a great champion. He could still have quality matches with Impact. Like, it would be fun to see what he could do if they did decide to go that route. Josiah says, I don't think that it would have hurt for him to take it to the G1. That probably would have elevated the title. Probably a little bit. I mean, you elevate the title regardless if you put it on Tanahashi. So if that is the route they went, I would totally be fine with it.
If you're like standing next to Tanahashi, you're being elevated.
Well, we were laughing Nikki and I were laughing yesterday because of barista because Tana posted the picture of him going to Starbucks, and he told the barista his name was Tana, and they put Hannah. So Nikki and I were laughing, and we were like, this barista doesn't even know that they're serving the ace of the universe right now. And then we were talking about his and how great he is, and Nikki was like, and he's the air guitar champion, and I was like, his biggest nemesis are apples. Then the man tweets an hour later and hints that he might have knocked his teeth out again.
Oh, geez.
It's like Tanahashi. And
Josiah, you know what it is, though? It's apple season
Josiah
now.
said he thinks it's a gimmick now at this point.
It's because it's apple season now. Like, they were even on the news, especially here. Like I said, I'm from Maine. Out in Washington, they have it too. Right here in Michigan, like this whole area. I keep living in agriculture states. It's like
you do.
Apple cider. Oh my God. This is one thing. Forget pumpkin spice, folks. Apple cider and homemade donuts.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm not a pumpkin spice fan. If you
I mean, it's great.
I don't care. I'm definitely not a pumpkin spice person, but I love apple cider.
Oh, apple cider and donuts in the Midwest. We have a cider
a lot of people do that
farm
here too.
Right by us.
Or they do like the apple cider flavored donuts is also a thing here.
Oh yeah,
that they'll
I'm
do.
Sure they make that kind of stuff over there. I just love their homemade. Like, you can go over there any day and they get it. Grab a warm cider.
They have
because
you can do the same thing here where you can pick apples and they will sell where you go to pick the apples. They'll sell the cider and sell little snacks with it too. So yes, and it's definitely. And I missed this. Josiah said, never doubt Tana. He worked a more technical style, but he always picks his spots at the right time. All-time great worker, maybe the best. And he says, obviously, he's a Tana mark. And I see Jeter is here. So hello to Jeter. And I like that you let us know that you were here by getting a dig in at Josiah. This is what happens Jeter is over with us at Daily DT, and so he deals with me and Josiah all the time.
I love it.
I'm glad that he decided to come hang out for a bit, so we appreciate that. And
definitely thanks for hanging out.
But yes,
I love having new people.
We do.
Who
So we
are these
appreciate that.
ladies? Who are these weirdos?
So I'm gonna let them talk amongst themselves over there. We will get to so yeah, we've had the Edge and the Tana discussion, and so we will talk about the other really big story that came out Friday morning.
So shall I pop this up here?
Yeah, well, it was revealed that Cash Wheeler was arrested, and he was arrested on assault charges with a. I have to see if I have
it was
exact.
brandishing a firearm.
Yeah, it was. Hang on. It was one count of aggravated assault with a firearm, according as how the Orlando Sentinel worded it. If you listen to, so there's a little bit of discrepancy. If you listen, because I listened to the video of the arraignment, and they kept saying he flashed a firearm, but the affidavit from the victim said that the gun was pointed at him. So I don't know how much of a if that changes anything as far as legality wise, if that changes anything, because it's still aggravated assault with a firearm.
Well, one would be, I was going to say, one would be like battery or assault, aggravated assault, and the other would be because threatening a person's life is or a person feeling threatened, I believe, is considered battery.
Right.
So, which is still these are all felonious.
Right, it's still an intimidation tactic, whether he flashed it or he pointed it.
Well, they are all felonious charges that he's alleged to have committed. These are not misdemeanors. These are all felonies.
Right. And so apparently, the incident took place on July 27th, and a warrant for his arrest was issued the next day. He pled not guilty through a lawyer on August the 3rd. And then it turns out on Friday morning, he turned himself in, and then that's when the arraignment was. From what has come out so far, nobody in AEW had any idea that this was happening. Nick Hausman reported that he could not find anyone who knew of Wheeler's situation prior to the news coming out. He spoke with different members of the roster, and some management people in management, and they say they were not aware that this was happening. He was unable to confirm whether Tony Khan, Dax, or even CM Punk knew about any of this prior to Friday, but he was given Hausman says that he was given the impression by someone close to the situation that Tony Khan was unaware. So I don't know, there was a lot of back and forth well, Tony Khan put him on TV and all this stuff. We don't know.
Yeah, even I actually was having a discussion with my friends about the fact that would mean that Tony knew that when he booked the
match.
Yes, why would you book that match if now that makes total sense because it didn't seem like a Tony move.
Right. And they said, and then of course, AEW statement is obviously that they are aware of what's happening. They're monitoring the situation. Last night, they did air a pre-taped segment that was taped on Wednesday. So that would have been before he turned himself in and was booked on these charges. So this would have when they filmed that. And so if Tony didn't know on Wednesday night when they were filming this,
well, they advertised them for last night, Saturday night for Collision, but they did not show up, and then they showed that pre-tape crap.
Which is they just said we would hear, all they said is we would hear from FDR, so I assumed it was a pre-tape, because I was like, it would probably not be a great idea to throw them in front of a live crowd right now. So from what we do know, Cash Wheeler did not have to surrender his passport. He has not been charged with anything. So at this time, he can still travel. Whether he travels or not, that is obviously going to be up to AEW, but legally he can still travel. And then we have, if you want to put that back up here, or I can read it. So there is
I'll pop it up too.
We have the affidavit. So this is from the affidavit from the person who is the victim in this case. Of course, we have not heard Cash's side of the story yet. There's always two sides to every story, but this is from the information that we know. This is public information. So the person, because I got this from another reporter, It is public information. Nobody's being doxxed, because I saw some people arguing with John Alba about it, because John Alba isn't a reporter. So before he even did wrestling reporting, he was a news reporter. He knows the law. This is all public information. Anybody can look this up.
No, he's in the bag for Tony Khan, though.
So anybody can look this information up. I could go look it up. You could go look it up. Anybody listening to this could go look this up and find the information. So according to the affidavit, an officer responded to the victim. The victim provided a sworn, written / verbal statement that said that the following happened. He stated that he was driving west on Interstate 4 north of exit 83. He noticed a Jeep Gladiator weaving in and out of traffic, honking its horn. So he moved over to the far right lane to let the Jeep pass. He said that the Jeep took the right shoulder to drive around him on the passenger side of his vehicle. He looked over and noticed a white male with a beard pointing a black semi-automatic handgun out of the driver's window at him with a strong stare. He said he feared for his life at this time. He stated that he slowed down to get out of the way of the firearm and ended up behind the suspect vehicle at this time. At this time, both were committed to exit 83. The victim took pictures of the Jeep as it turned right onto a street, and he began to drive reckless. The victim said that the Jeep cleared the Florida license plate number, and so he took a picture and he called 911 and gave the vehicle information to dispatch with the details of what occurred. He explained that he could not be late for work and asked the officer to meet him at his work. The officer then says he created a photo lineup using a database, and he selected 5 random photos to go along with it. It was shown randomly. The victim picked him immediately out of the lineup, and it says that he was later identified as Daniel M. Wheeler, and the victim says he's 100% certain that is the person who pointed a gun at him while he was driving. So brandishing a gun and pointing a gun are 2 very different things. Both are intimidation tactics, and both are felonies, as Mel pointed out. So that leads to the question. He's not, of course, and again, he's not been charged with anything. He's guilty and he's innocent until proven guilty. But he is from what the lawyer says, he doesn't have a prior record or anything like that. So he is a first-time offender. Actually, before I get to what I was about to say, I also want to bring up that if this ends up being true and he is found guilty, the maximum penalty for this charge of aggravated assault with a firearm in Florida is 5 years in prison or 5 years probation plus a $5,000 fine. A law company notes that even first-time offenders can face jail time for this offense. So even though he appears to have a clean record, he could potentially serve jail time for this if he is found guilty of the charge. So I just want to make that clear. Of course, we only have one side of the story at this point. We do also know that, because I did watch the arraignment video, that Cash Wheeler was able to receive bond, and he had to give up all firearms within 12 hours of his release. So any guns or any weapons that or I guess it's firearms, I believe. So any firearms that he owns, he had to turn over to the police, and they will hold them until this matter is resolved. I guess it's a traffic court, I guess, is where it's resolved. I'm not exactly positive where that will occur. And there is, from what I understand, there's no date for that yet. So again, it appears that Cash Wheeler is free to travel to London. The question is, should he be allowed to travel at all or be on TV? And Mel, do you have any thoughts or opinions on that?
The problem here is that you're innocent until you're proven guilty in a court of law. And so this is the same conversation we have with NFL players a lot. We have this conversation with professional athletes regularly, where they are alleged to have, and there's some ugly ones out there. I mean, that's, I don't get into it, but so on the face of it, Tony Khan can't deny, I mean, in a way, they can't say you can't work because he's not been convicted of a crime. So they can't, his lawsuit pending. Now, on the other hand, he didn't tell the company. And that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see them pulling this like marquee match. I just don't see that. I think that they're gonna be. I think they're gonna eat this
and
one.
if we're to believe MJF's tweet, because MJF was quick to come out and
defend them,
defend him, he says the match is still happening. So as of right now, I believe everyone's under the impression that the match is still happening.
I don't see why it wouldn't happen money wise. It's just
this is a really sticky situation. He hasn't been charged with anything. He is innocent until proven guilty. However, he might be guilty. You're allowing him to compete in the biggest match of his career. He clearly didn't tell Tony for a reason, because he knew the match would probably get pulled if he was forthcoming.
Or they wouldn't have made it at all.
Right. Yeah, it made it.
And it would have affected, like, think about what's been going on. That's almost a month. Not quite a month. That's 7 days shy of a month on today.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday. Like,
and although, and he of course has not been charged with anything, but the accusation is that he pointed a weapon at somebody with the intent to intimidate them. That is
that is battery.
That's a huge problem, regardless. And so,
if you're in fear for your life, that escalates the charges. So if I become someone that is in fear of my life from the person that is just like brandishing or doing whatever, that kicks up the thingy because of what it is. It becomes battery. It becomes another level of charges because you scared me.
Right.
And I had
not only did you scare me, but I was afraid that you were going to shoot me, and either
and if I have legitimate cause to feel like my life was in danger, and they can the law says, yep, totally. She was totally reasonable to act the way she did because she was scared for her life. He's in big trouble. And also, the problem is that this is happening. Like Michigan's having a huge, especially Detroit Metro, but Michigan's having a huge problem with road rage too. And so jurisdictions are cracking down on this sort of thing. It's happening a lot more often.
Yeah, I saw like a few people yesterday. They were like, I am not American. So they're like, first of all, road rage is a thing. I mean, not that road rage is not a thing in other countries. It's obviously,
but no one's gonna pull out a gun.
But they were like, road rage can end with somebody pulling a gun on you. Road rage can end up with your life being taken. Unfortunately, we are in a country
here a lot lately.
That happens more than it should, and so it is a terrifying aspect. And so, a lot of people got that reality yesterday who are not American, who did not realize that this is a thing that happens. This is a thing that happens on a daily basis. Unfortunately, because of gun laws. Florida is a stand your ground law. They have that, and so like they are very gun friendly in that state. There are some serious charges that could come along with not necessarily that law in particular, but and it's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm glad it's not me who has to make that decision. I think, and Josiah makes this point too. Regardless, I believe there will be blowback, whatever they decide to do, because I already saw it. Because some people are treating this as, oh, well, he didn't assault, his partner. He did assault a woman. He didn't actually shoot this person. They don't think this is a serious thing. It's extremely serious that somebody pulled a weapon on someone else. So first of all, that's bad enough in itself. Then he did not bother to tell his employer that what was happening. And so they didn't find out until, he may have found out like a few minutes before we did, but some people did not know until the rest of us knew. They had no clue that this was happening. And and people do make mistakes. And I know nobody's saying that, but this is, he allegedly pulled a weapon on someone in an incident of road rage. Hopefully there's that's very serious. And I hope one of the things, and I've seen some people make this comment too, I hope that Cash mentally is doing okay. Sometimes some mental health issues can be at play with road rage. I mean,
Maybe it's better that the police have all his guns right now.
Right. I don't, not that so I just hope somewhere that mentally he is okay. I also hope the victim mentally is okay, because now this victim is having this, now not only has this happened to them, of course, allegedly,
Allegedly.
allegedly this has happened to him, and then now this person is still free to do what they want. They probably now know that this person is a famous wrestler and can leave the country and seemingly face no consequences for their alleged action towards them. So that's and of course it's not our place to, luckily that's out of our hands. It's nothing we have to deal with, but I mean, it is very, because like on the one hand, like, you don't want to punish Cash if this turns out to not be true, or it didn't happen the way that it was, if he's found innocent, basically, is what I'm getting at. But then on the other hand, what if he is guilty and you let him be on TV all these times? You let him go wrestle your biggest show in your company's history in front of 80,000 people. I think regardless, if the match happens, I do think they drop the belts. I think FTR cannot hold those titles right now until this outcome is. I don't know. Do you suspend him? I mean, they could suspend him for not telling them. I'm sure there's some kind of something in your contract with AEW, like if you withhold criminal information that you were part of a criminal investigation, probably that's a big no-no. So they may suspend him on those grounds that he kept this from them.
I don't know. Tony's notorious for not doing anything to anybody, not holding anybody accountable for things.
In some cases, but this is a criminal offense
where a lot of cases.
Somebody allegedly, your employee allegedly brandished a gun at somebody. Like, that's not something to, I mean, because obviously I know a DUI is completely different, and I'm not trying to compare what Jeff Hardy did.
Oh no, I'm thinking more in the vein of,
my point is, Jeff did act on Jeff Hardy, and you have to. He, obviously. And he did, and Jeff Hardy, he faced his, he had his sentence. He got into rehab. He followed Tony's requirements to be able to come back. So far, he has met those, and he has kept those. Again, I'm not comparing two things at all. And so if he is found guilty, then, I assume there will be things that he has to do to work his, he has to have requirements to what he can do, but he kept them in the dark. And I think that is a big problem especially when it's something as serious. People want to say it's not serious. It is very serious what he's being accused of.
Definitely serious. It's absolutely
he has to do something. But I think it goes back and forth. Like, if he's on TV, there's going to be blowback. If he's not on TV, there's going to be blowback. It's going to be, and, it is just, Josiah said, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, which it sucks for everybody. But I just don't know. And so, yes, Vinkin says that if he's guilty, he can be in jail for 5 years. Yes, it is the potential of up to 5 years if he is found guilty. Even as a first-time offender, it's likely that he could potentially face 5 years. He may just get off because he doesn't have a prior record. He may just get off with probation. And he may just get a fine.
He'll have good lawyers and stuff. So
right. So so it's definitely a very serious situation. It is kind of
I get the feeling he'll plead out before there's ever a court case, and they'll
well,
work with him,
I don't know.
Sucks,
and see, that's the thing. I don't know if this just goes to traffic. I don't know how this is settled. Like, I have not heard details of I haven't heard a date of when he has to come back into court, because they did say that they have to keep his weapons until the matter is resolved, but they did not say when it could potentially be resolved.
I feel like it gets escalated out of traffic and goes to
he was also ordered to stay away from the victim. He can have no contact. But in the video, they said the victim. So I thought there was more than one person in the vehicle, because they several times it said to stay away from victims, no contact with victims, and it was plural. So I assumed there was more than one person in the car. From the sworn affidavit, it sounds like it was just the driver. I'm not clear on that. But it did potentially, on Friday, watching the arraignment, it did sound like there were more than one because they kept saying it in plural, but maybe it was just one person in the vehicle, but he was ordered to stay away from them as well. Yeah, and Josiah says that he's explaining to someone the idea of pulling a gun on someone is almost completely foreign here in Canada.
I get that from my friends in the Euro too. It's
yeah. And Gray says if you have a cancel to carry, you cannot brandish your weapon in order to intimidate someone.
And he probably means a concealed to carry.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
But you can actually lose. Not only will you lose if you brandish while you have it concealed, not only will you lose that, but you can get in way more trouble because you were able to. I mean, it elevates the charges. Again, as someone like here in Michigan, we're having a serious problem with this. You guys I'm sure they're having the same problem we're having. Because they have a lot of the same working class level people and the same kinds of problems that we do. This is tricky because you could see charges because it's so bad, they could make an example of him.
It's certainly possible that they could.
Just because it's been happening to the point where they're like running PSAs about it here.
Wow.
Like, that's how bad it's gotten. And people are pulling guns on people and killing each other here in Michigan, like in Metro Detroit. And I mean, I feel like not a day goes by that I don't hear about a road rage incident on the.
Yeah, road rage is something that happens here frequently as well, too.
It's becoming a huge.
I think
careful. He picked the absolute wrong time both to lie to his company and to do something that is a big problem for police right now.
Well, it's an epidemic. Whether you just obviously gun violence in general,
gun violence
but to the point epidemic. Gun violence in general here in this country. But I mean, it's an epidemic now of road rage incidents that result in some sort of violence with firearms. There are reports of people following road rage incidents. They're following people home and then shooting them as soon as they get out of the car. Like it's unfortunately, this is something
that shut down a major freeway here 2 weeks ago because there was an incident on I-94, like one of our main
and from where this happened, it was on Interstate 7, so it sounds like it was on a major interstate.
Freaking nuts.
Which it's a very unfortunate situation.
And the thing about
an unfortunate reality that Americans have to deal with is that not only is there the gun issue, but there's the road rage incident where somebody could do something to you. They could try to run you off the road. They could do something to you in your vehicle, but they can also follow you home and harm you and things like that. So it's something that, it's a very serious situation, no matter, it's a situation that's serious regardless, just in general. But if this ends up being a true story, I mean, a true account of what happened is very terrifying. Daza says, even though we have innocent until proven guilty, we have actors, presenters, etc., taken off TV and TV shows and film just being accused. Could TV networks want him off?
I don't know. I guess
that's a really good question.
That is a good point.
That is a really good question. That Warner Brothers may push to have him pulled. I don't know if they will, but it is certainly possible that the advertisers were the reason the Briscoes weren't on TV for several years, so they could very well.
I bet they won't do it until after All In, though.
So
it might be a week to week. I think going forward, like they want to get through next weekend and then they'll deal with it. Is how I feel.
That's my guess as well. Especially because it is innocent till proven guilty. He was not forced to give up his passport. He legally can travel.
Yeah,
I think what will likely happen. And again, I have no knowledge. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
I think FTR drops titles to the Young Bucks. I mean, that may have been the plan anyway. Maybe. Just because that could have already been the plan. all along for them to drop it. I think regardless, they do drop titles now, and then I think it's likely that they are off TV for some time. I don't know that Dax. Well, maybe Dax does some singles wrestling in that time, but I do think that there's a possibility that he will be he may not be suspended because he's under investigation, because this is still an open case. Like this,
Right.
it's not over. Like it's active. But I could see him getting suspended for lying, from withholding this information from the company, and that's how they use that's
Well,
how
and
they
if the court of public opinion decides that he's a bad guy, then the advertisers are definitely going to not want him on the TVs. Like,
yeah,
it's just
so
the way it works.
it's certainly possible that once All In is over, that we don't see him on TV for a little bit. I mean, I could be very wrong. Maybe they don't care. They will keep him on TV, but I think putting the company in this position 9 days before their biggest show is probably going to piss him off a little bit, where he's going to
Pisses
want
me off.
Yeah,
It's irresponsible.
I could
it's
see
bad
that,
business.
Yeah, and so
you're an independent contractor.
Not
that's
all
your
good
brand.
not all PR is good PR, no matter what they say. There are times when it is not, and so I just assume he'll be on TV. Because they have a match on Wednesday, I believe. Last
They've
night
got
it was
stuff
announced
coming up this week. I think
they've got a match on Dynamite, I believe. So they're clearly, unless something changes between now and Wednesday, with advertisers or something like that, then it sounds like they'll be on TV through All In at the very least, and then I won't be I think regardless, they drop the titles, whether they're pulled off, whether he's pulled from TV or not. I think you can't have the titles on him while he's under investigation. That's not a good look. I mean, granted, there have been some other wrestling companies who have kept people belted while they face DUI charges and things like that. But I think in this situation, especially because he lied about it, he hid it. He not only hid it from his boss, but it appears that he hid it from his tag team partner and his coworkers and things like that. So
which just tells you that, like, that speaks to the fact that he knows he did something wrong.
Right, and he did. And I get,
if you don't feel like you did anything wrong, wouldn't you just go in and tell your boss, "Hey, I just got arrested and it's total bullshit"?
Right. And I think, there's also, and I guess there's always the possibility that part of the reason was, I don't want to ruin this for Dax. This is the biggest match of our career. It's not his fault because he wasn't involved. So I'm not going to tell anybody. That just makes it, assuming, again, I don't know what the intentions were of him keeping it to himself. I assume he kept it to himself because he did not want to get pulled off this card. whether it's for selfish reasons, in part because he didn't want Dax to be punished. They could have put Dax in a solo match, but that's a different story. That's not what we're dealing with here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but I at this point just expect them to drop the titles at All In, and then potentially he's suspended and he's off TV, or they get time off after holding the belts for so long. They get some time off, and then maybe Dax gets pulled off TV for a little bit, just so that they're both off TV, or maybe they bring Dax back and he does some singles matches for a little bit. So it'll be we will probably all find out at the same time how that's going to work. But at this point, he's not being pulled off TV. They have a match Wednesday night. And as far as we know, the match for All In is still on. And that leads us right into what we were going to talk about before all of this. Woohoo! So All In is a week from today. If you missed the earlier part of our show, we will be live next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time to hype you up and get you ready on our pre-show. And so make sure that you set your reminders, put a reminder on your phone, some way that you will be reminded to come hang out with us at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, so that we can talk about this. Because I was going to say we have 4 more matches, but technically 5, because one was added last night on Collision. So we have officially Wednesday night, we had another match added. Orange Cassidy defeated Wheeler Yuta. John Moxley and Claudio came out and they attacked Orange Cassidy. Seems like they've been hinting at Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy at some point, maybe at All Out. And then, so the best friends came, they helped even the score. Then the Lucha Brothers got involved. And we had the return of Eddie Kingston, who was fresh off of an amazing G1 and having the time of his life in Japan. And so, and he
happiest person to ever compete in the G1.
Yeah. Exactly.
My God, I've never seen a person so happy to be that tired and hurt.
Right. He came back and he went straight for his nemesis Claudio Castagnoli.
Yep.
He did not forget, even though he had the happiest time of his life in the G1, he did not forget that he's a hater and hates Claudio.
He had unfinished business back here at home.
Yes, and he's still mad at Claudio because Claudio beat him. They had a match for the ROH championship, and Claudio beat him, and then poor Eddie had to have hernia surgery. On top of that, he missed some time. Then he went to the G1, kicked ass.
I am massively impressed on his ability to recover from that surgery and then go do that. That's super awesome.
Go through that brutal 3-week tournament. I mean, I know he didn't make it to the final 8. Still, that's a lot that he had to do. And there's the travel on top of that. It was very hot, unseasonably hot.
Even Fumi, the most recent Pacific Rim was really good because they talked about the G1 actually afterthoughts. And Fumi was like, "It's so hot here." I was just like, "Whoa!" He doesn't usually get that emotional.
Yeah, well, that tells you. And so now we have a match and so Eddie Kingston said that himself, the Lucha Brothers, and Best Friends want to face Blackpool Combat Club in a Stadium Stampede match, and then Blackpool has their choice of team members. So, of course, there's been a lot of speculation on who that will be. So, do you have any guesses on who the 3? So, my initial reaction when I saw this graphic, I was like, when I heard this, and I was like, so I was trying to clarify who was in the match because I was like, is it just Eddie and Lucha Brothers? It was like, or Best Friends are in this, and then they clarified that yes, that is the match. So
it makes sense to have the Rahway Musketeers, right? Or at least Shooter
that's certainly
because
possible.
they all did their excursions in UK anyway.
That's true.
Yoda and Shooter and Ren Narita,
my initial reaction was this is where Proud and Powerful returns.
Oh.
And nice that Shooter too. and then Shooter that Jon Moxley Shooter was really over in the UK. He wrestled for Rev
he did his excursion and Rev Pro, and he was
and
in
then obviously whenever your wrestling dad calls, you're gonna come help him. And so that was my original guess. Apparently that was also Jerry Feinstein's guess as well. Nice. Then people have made some other comments.
And he knows what he's talking about.
Maybe
he won it.
So somebody said maybe it's Dark Order. Because they've been having issues with, they've been more of the elite, but then they pointed out that they have bled with Blackpool. And, Blackpool likes people who bleed with them. There are 3 members currently. So there's that possibility. Some people brought up the possibility of it being TMDK, that maybe it's Zack Sabre Jr., Shane Hayes, and Mikey Nichols.
I'd be into that.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
People think that ZSJ's got to be on this card. This would be a good spot for him. Maybe just some other guys from maybe have some of Will's United Empire.
Yeah, I was gonna say United Empire because you've got Jeff Cobb.
Greatest Okan was Rev Pro champion for a very long time until recently. Mm-hmm. So you could do Greatest Okan and Jeff Cobb and someone else from the United Empire could be in that position. So there are a lot of really good possibilities for that could be in the 3. And then it's funny that they're doing the Stadium Stampede because the day that Wembley was announced, Doug, who has been on our show before and is a good friend of mine, was like, they should do a Stadium Stampede in Wembley.
I felt like you had said this to me. When
I did.
I was like, Sam called this.
Technically, Doug called it, and
Doug
I was like,
called
you
it,
know what?
but
This is a really that would
it's like,
be
she
awesome to
said this.
do this in Wembley, and so I've kind of helped bang the drum a little bit. That would be really cool to see. Stadium Stampede is, that would give AEW fans in the UK a little bit of a taste of something that we've seen
Super
here.
special.
There is, there was the question is the Stadium Stampede pre-taped and then they just air it? Do they do this live? Wembley is very big. So how do they handle so how I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it'll be great. I know some people are not thrilled about it, but I think it's going to be an awesome match. I think these are the perfect people to be involved in a Stadium Stampede match. I think it's a really cool thing that they're doing.
They should pre-tape it and hit some of the like downtown, like Big Ben.
Yeah, I could see a pre-tape. I think makes
you know what I
more
mean, like
sense.
Big Ben in the background, or
Right.
like just
Riding-
something silly
they're
like
on the
that.
River
London
Thames.
Bridge, like the
Yeah.
Tower of London, which was just a big torture
Somebody
tower.
hanging out in a well, I know they're not phone booths anymore. I believe that they use them as I think they use them as little libraries now. I believe
over
they fill
by
them
the
with
big
books.
Ferris wheel. Like
on the double-decker buses.
Yeah, there you go.
Just have them fight somebody has to fight atop of double-decker bus.
I mean, they could, like, there's a lot of stuff they could do with it, especially if they did it more cinematic than having
people. Which I expect them to do,
but you also have the aspect of like giving the fans, the people in the audience deal.
Well, we'll see, and then
although
the last Stadium Stampede
was filmed, right? So
yeah, well, they did the filming, but then they finished the match in the ring in front of everybody. And they had some people because that was at the Double or Nothing that we were at, and so we watched it and then they filmed it, and so some of them were fight like above us in the stands above us. There were people who were fighting like above us, and then they were in the ring happening. So I could see that maybe they pre-taped some of it, and then it all stumbles out with them in the arena. And the match happens where it so you get a little bit of both. Like I could see that potentially being how they handle it. But I think it's going to be fun. I really, really hope. I mean, regardless of who the partners are, they have some really good options to choose from. I would love to see Proud and Powerful return here. I think that would be a really cool. And I will say a couple of things. Ortiz has been retweeting Santana, I believe. No, it is Ortiz. He's been retweeting a lot of AEW things, talking about quote tweeting stuff, talking about matches that are coming up. Seems a bit more active. Then I did see Brad tweet earlier today. I believe I have the tweet right here because I sent it to the group text. So Ortiz was supposed to be wrestling a show, an independent wrestling show for Limitless Wrestling, and he has now been pulled for the show that is occurring on Saturday the 26th. Happens to be the day before.
Fascinating.
Just gonna throw that information out there for you to have.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so what else? We got a couple other things that were announced. We had the sit down interview. This is quickly becoming an infamous interview with Kenny Omega and Jim Ross. They were talking about Don Callis and his relationship with Don Callis and Takeshita. Don Callis interrupts Omega, talking about his mental health and stuff. While he's doing that, Omega is blindsided by an attack from Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Takeshita. Omega was taken to the hospital. His good friend and former tag team partner, Hangman Adam Page, was waiting outside, drinking a beer, was told he can't drink a beer. So he shotgunned it in front of security, and he said that he is one of Kenny's best friends and one of his greatest tag team partners of all time. And so he will defend. He and Kenny will be joining up, and his other greatest tag team partner, Kota Ibushi, will also be there to help him get revenge. So the match has been made official that Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi will face Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Takeshita in a trios match. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Let's effing go. Come on. I'm all about this match.
Yeah,
Every-
people have been. I mean, people are people. They will complain about everything. People have been fussing about this match. This match, Kenny is the center of the universe in this match
I
because
know
Kenny
it's, you
has,
know what it is? It's because people wanted Kenny to have a singles match at their.
there is nothing wrong with him having this match.
I
This is a
agree with
good match.
you. I think that a lot of the fans going to the show will agree with that and be fine with this because it has like
Yeah.
meaning. There's actually something
Yeah,
behind
there's
it.
a lot of meaning here. Kenny,
There's
like I said,
story in it.
Kenny has ties to every person in this match. He was he like Adam Page said, he was tag team partners with or tag team champions with both Adam Page and Ibushi. He obviously has a years-long relationship with Ibushi. He has a years-long relationship with Takeshita. They were opponents in DDT Pro. Juice won the IWGP US Championship off of Kenny. Jay and Kenny have a really long history as well from their time in New Japan. So they all it all makes perfect sense that these men are all involved in this match. And then you've got and I was thinking that Hangman had been involved, but Hangman obviously was in Japan for a while too. So he has, he's had stuff that he's done with Jay White as well. And I believe
they were all on the original All In. So there's that too.
Yeah, Takeshita was not, but
no,
and neither was, I don't believe Juice was either, but Jay and Ibushi were.
So
yes. Yeah. And so I think this is going to be a phenomenal match. It is kind of calling back to the original All In by having this match because Ibushi was in a 6-man. I should know I was there. Ibushi and Bandito. And I don't know why I'm blanking on who else was in that match. I saw a lot of really good stuff, and it's been 5 years. So there is the call back to that, which I think is a really cool thing. And yes, Vinken was talking about how when Don Callis, he was laughing very hard when Don Callis came back with Takeshita, and that Jim Ross just stood there. And yeah, Jim Ross didn't even he didn't even sell it. He didn't even my God, call an ambulance. Nothing. None of that. He's like, this ain't my fight. I don't have nothing to do with this.
I'm over here.
He's like, I'm gonna stand here. I'm not even gonna bother calling 911. I'm not gonna call for security. This is grown man business, and I have nothing to do with it. This is basically, he was just not on my. He's like, y'all do what you gotta do. I'm not in this. Just don't hit me. Oh, I missed the comment from Daza going back to the first the Stadium Stampede. He predicts in Stadium Stampede they will go in the back of Wembley and use a replica FA Cup as a weapon. I mean, I think they have to.
That would be funny, actually. I'd be into that.
If they don't, I think they might be doing it wrong, Daza.
I agree.
So Don Callis was a busy man. I mean, this was a pre-taped segment, but then he had an in-ring segment on Dynamite with Chris Jericho. Jericho finally agrees to join the Don Callis family. They're like, awesome, this is cool, let's go. And then Jericho's like, wait a minute, what is this giant photo that's covered by a black cloak? What is this? And Don Callis is trying to get him to not look at it. So of course he rips it off, and Mel Coleman and her amazing artwork gets showcased again.
Great.
And Callis had a painting commission where he is holding a severed Jericho head because he assumed Jericho was gonna say no. So Jericho called him on it and didn't believe any of his lies. And then he told him that Callis has no friends, and he just straight up called him an asshole.
Yep.
And so there was our little baby face turn for Chris Jericho. Because he called Don Callis out. Then of course Jericho was jumped by Takeshita. So Takeshita's just out here taking out whoever Don Callis says to. And then he was also taken out by Will Ospreay. So we're assuming Don Callis finally called in his favor. He's been hinting at working with Ospreay since before Forbidden Door. And then Sammy Guevara was
a ton at Forbidden Door and at that collision.
Right.
There was so much of the two of them on those two shows. Like we were standing we were so close.
Yeah, we were wondering oh yeah, I guess
I remember I was like, oh yeah, right, because he was like, bad mouthing all the Canadians and offering Will Ospreay security and doing all
Yep.
this stuff. And that happened on that Collision the night we went. And I was like, and then of course at Forbidden Door there was other stuff like that they talked about, but
Right.
just that Collision specifically, I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
And then of course Ospreay beat Kenny Omega
Right.
at Forbidden Door, and so Don Callis obviously called in a favor, had him come jump Jericho, probably because he already assumed that Jericho was going to say no. So he had that in his back pocket. Last week, when the Jericho Appreciation Society basically blew up, Sammy was the only one that was like, I'll give you another chance. I'm not completely gone. Sammy came down and he saved Jericho on Wednesday night. And so they cut to a bleeding Jericho who was talking to Renee dressed in all white. Luckily did not get blood. I was very concerned that she was going to get blood on her white outfit.
An impressive lady.
The woman who was barely dabbing Jericho, there was a woman there who was barely dabbing Jericho's blood. She was, in some cases, I don't even think she touched him at all, but so obviously Jericho is pissed off and he challenged Will Ospreay to a match, and they're having a contract signing this Wednesday. So do you have any
I mean, I knew
this.
I kind of knew this match was coming, so I wasn't like overly shocked. And I think that people complaining about it just need to get over it. Like, they want to do the match. There's history here from when he was Painmaker. It'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun.
Do you think he'll come out in the Painmaker gear?
Honestly, I'm kind of in the camp of him doing something new.
That's what me too.
Because it's for London and it's Jericho and he's always,
I mean, maybe it's Painmaker with Union Jack on his face.
Yeah, or
and because Ospreay went after the Canadians. That type of stuff. So he might, I think he's gonna take that personally. Jeter said that, I must say, as grim as it was, Callis has a great portrait guy. It's Mel Coleman. At Mel Coleman Art, if you follow her, she does incredible art anyway. But then they have commissioned her to do these paintings for Don Callis.
Paintings are amazing.
She's also doing some of the Jack's
good on
her. Figures that are coming out, wrestling figures that are coming out. Nice. She did the artwork for, I want to say it was Sting that she did the artwork for his package, and I believe that she did artwork for one or two other ones or something like that. So I'm very glad her artwork is incredible, and so I'm really glad to see her. And she's done these really cool things where she's like made wrestlers into Valentines. She made them into little Valentine cards. Then she did I can't remember the name of the series, but it was where she basically reimagined wrestlers with different characters, and like, I'm trying to remember who she had wearing. They were basically wearing Orange Cassidy's clothing. She had somebody with Vicky. She changed up a lot of people's stuff, and it was a lot of fun that she did. It was a series she did a few months ago, and I wish I remembered off the top of my head the name of it. It was, or some of the wrestlers that she used, but it was really, really cool. So I'm glad to see her. I hope Don Callis keeps her busy and keeps her. Maybe the next time he commissions something of Will Ospreay defeating Jericho and Wembley or something like that. And then the AEW Women's Championship Tournament is official now. We do know the fourth. We knew it when the tournament was announced, but officially Britt Baker defeated the Bunny on Wednesday, and so the match is officially set where Shida will be defending her title against Britt Baker, Saraya, and Toni Storm. This appears to be the only women's match on this card. Somebody I missed this. I believe it was, I don't remember if it was I don't think it was I don't remember if it was the Speaking of Strong Style or if it was Mike and JD, but they heard that the only all-in match it's just gonna be that tag match between Aussie Open and MJF and Adam Cole, and that they're not doing anything else. But now I'm hearing rumors that they're gonna do a battle royale on All In to try to get as many wrestlers on the card as possible. I don't care as long as Emi Sakura gets on that card. I wrote an article about it. It was published last week about
Read
why
it on our Powerbombshells things. We'll get it out there. We'll make sure.
Where Emi, not only should Emi be on 0 Hour and how she has earned the spot, but also how she is a cornerstone of the women's division. She has been there since day one. She has trained people. She has worked with so many, especially when she was on Dark and Elevation. She worked with so many indie talents. She's worked with up and coming wrestlers. She was with Nyla and Marina for a while. Like, they basically everything they asked of Emi, she has done it. She is currently the DPW champion. She also what is it? The Super Asia champion, I believe, is the name of that title. So she's Emi 2 belts right now.
Nice.
And then speaking of somebody talking about being a cornerstone, we got on Rampage a really great promo from Nyla Rose, reminding people of who she is, and that she too is a cornerstone. She has been there since Dynamite, before Dynamite even existed. Nyla Rose was there. She's obviously a former champion. And people and she's generally, we've made the joke that when a new champion wins their title, generally their first matchup is against Nyla. Sheeta did not have to do that because she beat Nyla on the Rampage prior to Dynamite, and that's how she got the spot to even face Tony for the title. So they're holding that off. So I don't know if Nyla is angling for a spot at All In, or if she's basically just reminding whoever wins next Sunday that she is there. Maybe she'll face them
on All
Out and be their first opponent, or so it'll be interesting to see. So Nyla said they're putting out little things back there. Daza said Amy posted a tweet of her at Wembley a few months back. She should be on the show. Athena and Statlander and Willow too. I agree. Yeah, I really want her. Amy is a huge fan of Queen, and it is her dream to wrestle in the same place that Queen formed. Literally, one person can make this dream happen for her, and it is Tony Khan. And Vinkin says Athena can bring her minion. Oh yeah, because he said to do Emmy and Athena, and yes, Athena's newest minion, number 400,237 3/4, is Billy Starks. and she can bring Lexi Nair, who she
excellent. Awesome.
Yes. So I would love to see those women there. I am not getting my hopes up for anything just because I know better. But with this title, do you think Sheeta retains, or do you think she's a transitional champion that they're going to put the title on somebody else?
I want her to retain. I don't see how they, the way they've been building Toni Storm, especially. I feel like it has to be someone that's known. I mean, if it's not her, I hope it's Toni Storm, because I don't want to see the other two have it right now.
No, I just realized that's probably a question I should save for next week for the pre-show. As soon as I said it, I was like, wait, maybe that should have been a pre-show question.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's something to think on, but I mean, I guess my idea, it's worth asking. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, I feel like if she isn't, I don't want her to be a transitional champion.
I think that would be a terrible idea if she's a transitional champion.
As popular as she is, I still think the audience would pop just as hard for her as I don't think that it would be a disappointment to not have one of the, and it would be a fun swerve. I mean, because there's so many, there's a couple of UK kids on the match, so.
Yeah.
Or I mean, Toni Storm's Australian. I have to go back and read that.
So. I have not had a chance to read the exact comments, but apparently Toni keeps talking about how she doesn't want to. She's mad that All In is in England because she wishes she could denounce. I think she was denouncing being from England or something, and doesn't.
She's Australian, and she wrestled in Progress.
So yeah, there was something really funny about. I saw a comment from her the other day, but I know she's mad that All In is in London, and she wishes she didn't have to wrestle there. I've got to read that. I'll have to go back and read the full comment so we can talk about it during the pre-show. So that could be an interesting factor in what they're playing up here.
I'll think about it harder.
Yeah. Yeah, I really just hope she does not a transitional champion.
Yeah.
Grace said she has to be on the show, talking about Emmy has to be on the show and have her queen entrance. That's all I want. I just want her to have her queen entrance. I want her to wrestle. I want her to do her big AO chant that she gets the crowd into, and I want her. I just want her to have that moment. That's really all I want from her. They could do it on 0 hour and let her have that moment. She's earned it. He said, "Give us what we want, Tony." Vinkin asked if Tony. Yes, Tony. Wait, isn't she an NXT UK champion? Tony wasn't she?
I think so. Yeah.
I want to say
She also
that.
wrestled on Progress though.
Yes,
so
she did. Yep.
Because I saw her.
And then, we did have another match made official last night on Collision. We officially have Samoa Joe versus CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
It is not for Samoa Joe's ROH title. It is for the real AEW championship.
Oh, the real AEW title.
Yes,
right, yeah.
Which I think would be. I don't think CM Punk will lose it. However, I think it would be hilarious if Samoa Joe had the ROH TV title.
It would.
The AEW Real Championship would be so he could go back to being, because he says he's king of television.
Right.
For him to have two titles again, I think would be really funny. I don't think that's the route they're going. But since this title is not for the ROH TV Championship, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, so ROH they did yet another TV tournament to determine his opponent. They did this for Death Before Dishonor to find his opponent. They immediately did another tournament, and Shane Taylor won. And so that is the dream match that a lot of fans have been wanting, is Shane Taylor versus Samoa Joe. I'm hoping that match is going to happen at All Out. Just because I think it's a really big match. I think they don't have ROH does not have any other scheduled pay-per-views until Final Battle in December. I mean, of course you could just do this on a random Thursday night, but I think in this case, I would put that on All Out. I think that Shane Taylor deserves that spot. I would love to see Shane Taylor be on a pay-per-view like that. I mean, I know he was on the stuff that they did with Swerve and stuff, but to have a title match against Samoa Joe in a dream match that a lot of people want, like, I think that would be a really cool place to have it. And I'm hoping, I mean, I know that's a lot on Samoa Joe to wrestle, and I mean, a lot of the people who are wrestling on All Out and
with the travel,
All In and All Out, and wrestling 8 days apart with the travel on top of that. Like,
yeah,
I know it's a lot. I know I'm asking for a lot, but if they were to do that, I would not be mad about that. And Josiah said that Joe versus Shane Taylor is a mean guy match. Yes. It is like the definition. It's big, medium, and slapping meat. Like, it's all of the things I want. A lot of people consider Shane Taylor they consider him the best TV champion of all time. Samoa Joe is currently the second longest reigning TV champion, behind Jay Lethal, who at one point was that Joe was at one point his mentor. So he is looking to break that. I wanted, not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before, I believe he was 84 days away from surpassing Jay Lethal's record. So I believe it'll be sometime in November. Yeah. If I'm doing my quick maths right. The other day I was trying to figure this out. It'll be sometime in November where he would surpass Jay Lethal, should he get past Shane Taylor when that match happens. Jeter says Joe versus Taylor is a prime mean man match. Yes. Mm-hmm. And Josiah says, I suspect we'll see Lethal and Joe again down the line. I could see that happening at Final Battle. Especially if Joe breaks the record in November and Final Battle's in December, I could see that being the title. I could see that being where they do that. Vinkin said that he wants to see Punk jump and Joe walk away. Yes, I think we gotta have that spot. I think it'll get a big pop. So yeah, this card has filled out rather nicely. I don't know that they're gonna add anything else unless it's to 0 hour. And it better be, Emi Sakura better be out of that damn show. But we have I think we got a pretty stacked card. We have 3 shows between now and then. They filmed Rampage last night after Collision, I heard. And on top of that, Adam Cole was awarded I think it was a humanitarian award from Culture City. There was a nice little video because Britt posted it, and then I saw it because Adam quote tweeted it. But the video of his acceptance speech, and he was talking about all the issues he was having post his 2 concussions. And he's talked about it before. How he was crying in the car, he would get sick in the car after 15 minutes. He'd wake up crying, having panic and anxiety, and so he kind of talked about invisible disabilities and things like that, and being an advocate for that, and then how Culture City plays into it for wrestling fans. And so I didn't get to see the full speech, but it was like a 2.5 minute little speech. And so they accepted that award, and then they flew to Kentucky to film Rampage. And I think I believe that I read that Britt had like a promo that she recorded, but I believe Adam had a match. I could be wrong, might have mixed those up, but they both, they did a lot last night. And so it'll be, and I believe Collision is being taped after Dynamite this week, so that Collision will air, because obviously they'll be traveling
that makes sense
to the UK. So I believe that is the schedule of events. So we've got 3 more shows. They could potentially add some more matches. I'm really hoping 0 Hour gets some more stuff in, but we will see. This could be our full card. Regardless, we will be here next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. to talk to you about this card, give our predictions, talk about what we're looking forward to, which better be Elton John performing. Sundays are all right for fighting. I really want him to perform Yellow Brick Road for Effie and to piss off Jeff Jarrett.
There you go.
That's what I really would like. But yes, so and then we have some comments, and they are talking amongst themselves about Samoa Joe and CM Punk, and they're great. Good. Joe's amazing, and we love him. And Josiah said you really can't knock their work effort for AEW. Baker and Cole, that is their credit. They work very hard for the company. Agreed, they do. Yes. So I believe that. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I know we've kept you here. One more. Well, there's 2 more things. Do we want to talk about the Ricky Stark? I guess we'll talk about Ricky Starks real quick, because there's a reason I added this, because I didn't realize I was doing something with him last night.
Pop that up here.
So
this is his picture, right? Yeah. Oh,
yes, this is Ricky Starks last night with the belt that he infamously used to beat Ricky Steamboat with. He was suspended, and apparently it was originally thought that he was going to miss All In and All Out. However, it's been amended that it was a 28-day suspension. He is available for All Out in Chicago.
Right.
And he said in a promo that he has his manager's license. I think he's used the term that he was something about bringing a war to Collision. Last night we saw him with Big Bill. I guess he got him away from Brian Cage. He had Big Bill come beat up a local wrestler from the area last night. Then he used the belt again. I was gonna ask, and it appears that he will probably be managing more people. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I have a suspicion of who he might be managing, and I believe that person is Jade Cargill. And the reason I believe this is because they have been going back and forth on Twitter. And Jeter and I actually had this conversation a few days ago, because when I sent it, and he was like, sounds like he has a new manager client. And I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking, because she tweeted and said that Ricky Starks was making lemonade out of lemons. And they've been kind of tweeting back and forth very positively towards each other. Of course, they are friends outside of work. Could just be that. But it feels like it's leading to something.
An angle.
When Jade left to take time off, it was reported that Jade would come back with a new character of some sort. And so I could see Ricky Starks bringing her back. Maybe he brings her back at All Out. Maybe she disrupts maybe she
yeah.
disrupt Chris Statlander.
That would be good. That'd be
Because
good.
Chris Statlander, I mean, I don't know that she'll stay in the TBS title picture for very long. If she is there, maybe she comes and disrupts that because she's mad at how Chris beat her. Maybe she just goes straight for the women's champion. If whoever wins, maybe she goes straight for that. It definitely seems like they're bringing. I feel like they're bringing her back with Ricky Starks, and I think they could do some really cool things with that. And then Josiah said that he too has noticed that about Jaden Stark. Starks managing her would be great. Jeter says that if Stark's going to manage Big Bill, his first order of business should be to change his name from Big Bill. I have not had a chance to watch AEW. I'm very behind on it, but I did see that apparently he referenced how that name came about. I mean, clearly it's very obvious, but I'm sure there's, I guess, a story with how they named it, how they came to that name. But yeah, I would too. Jeter says Starks and Jade would be a great pairing. Josiah says that he likes Vinny's idea. Badass Bill Morrissey would work. I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple. Yeah. But yeah, so I did want to bring that up real quick because I'm very interested. I feel like that's leading to something. I don't know if she comes back at All Out. Maybe she comes back at Grand Slam instead, because Grand Slam is 2 weeks after that. I could see that happening. Great. Oh, that's good. Grace said it was hoping that it was going to be the War Dog. It still could be. It sounds like he's bringing, he's managing maybe more than one person.
That could
and
be
he
cool.
Did say
he manage Big Bill and Wardlow. That would be cool.
And he did say he was bringing a war, and he used the word war to Collision. So or to AEW or something like that. I can't remember. So maybe that was a direct reference to Wardlow. And I did see Amanda Huber had pictures from the Culture City Ball from Friday night. In those photos were Ricky Starks, Jade Cargill, and Wardlow. Could have just been a coincidence. I know she's really good friends with
personalities.
She's really good friends with Ricky Starks. So could have. I don't remember if Wardlow was in the picture with Ricky Starks, but I do know Wardlow was there, and I do know that Jade was there. And so perhaps there is something going on. Perhaps there's something going on there. Josiah says Big Billy, W. Morrissey, and the War Dog could be good as a tag team. That would be a fun tag team.
Yeah.
Grace, a hot take. Yes. Yeah. I do like this take, but I really like this. Could be a cool. Poor Big Bill. They can't quite seem to figure out where to put him. It sounds like he hasn't quite found his group yet. I think he will. He's definitely come a long way. And it's like he really was doing some stuff with Brian Cage. But I'm guessing because Brian Cage is in the Mogul Embassy, maybe that's why they're kind of pulling Billy and Big Bill away from that, because he doesn't quite fit in with what Mogul embassies are what they're doing, I should say the embassy, what they're doing. So maybe they're trying to pull Big Bill and put him with somebody else that can kind of accentuate what he does. Maybe him and Brian Cage can team up every once in a while. Josiah said he's much better than he was in WWE. Impact really helped him. Yes, and I believe, and I think getting clean also.
Well, he admitted as much when he left the company, is that all of those things were true. I'm glad it was interesting
because back when I covered Stokely was on Renee's podcast, and he was talking about how he and Big Bill really get along, which people kind of wouldn't assume, but he said that they're very similar, where they're kind of quiet. They like to come in, do their job, and go home. They just he said he's like, I could be sitting in a suite and look over and Bill's reading quietly by himself. He just kind of, and he said that they had a really great relationship when the firm was happening and stuff like that. So I could see that. Yeah. And Grace said they need to make Big Bill funny. I think they probably could do that. But in a way to keep it not
too funny.
He was with the real one.
I was talking to John Hughes was talking a lot about how you can use comedy to get people over. It has to be used properly.
I think if they could, really somebody somebody like Stokely could kind of guide him in that way, because Stokely obviously is very funny, but he has said that sometimes he thought his humor was a hindrance because when he needed help, when he needed some mental health help, he felt like he couldn't tell people because they thought that they wouldn't believe him
He
because
was joking.
Right. And so I think maybe if they do decide, and so now we're seeing more of the comedic side of Stokely and ROH as a board member. He's Samoa Joe's lackey, does his bidding for him. They had a match together Thursday night against the boys. So I think if they went that route with Big Bill, then Stokely is probably somebody who could guide him and kind of give him tips and help him on how to do that. We have Shadow Ranger says Impact has rehabbed several wrestlers over the years. Absolutely. And I think when we talked about that before Trinity joined, and should she go to Impact? And I was thinking, because a lot of people still make fun of Impact because they think it's what it was 20 years ago, and rightly it earned the reputation they've got. But Impact does have, in one of the benefits of having a smaller audience, is they can go there and try different creative things. They can try out different, because we talked about that, like, who is Trinity away from WWE? Who is Big Bill away from WWE? Who are these people away from what we know them as? What can they work on? They kind of have time to kind of figure that out and play with their characters and wrestle new people and try new moves and like all kinds of things. So I think Impact has done a really great job with that over the years, and I think that's very correct to say that. Yeah, so that would be, I think that's a really cool thing to see. Grace, is that you? Oh, so did you get Stokely? Did he wrestle in Evolve? Is that where you saw him, or WWE?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, Stoke is awesome. Yeah, he was great in Evolve. I have not watched yesterday's show, so I have not heard what Real One, he calls himself, has done. Trying to avoid the fact that he was even in New Japan to begin with. I
forgot about him.
Yes. Speaking of, I think I sent you a picture. I don't know if you have it, but there was a group picture.
Yeah, the group picture. Yesterday. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I was gonna have you pop that up. I was gonna talk about it earlier, then I forgot we even had it. So this picture, speaking of, so Jack Cartwheel was.
It wasn't huge, but
Jack Cartwheel was one of Real One's partners yesterday. But it was also his birthday, and he posted this picture, and I was like, just look at the amount of talent in this photo. Like, and a lot of the young, I mean, there's some veterans, clearly. There's just these young guys, like, wrestling has in some good hands. Because so in this picture is Kevin Knight, Jordan Oliver, Nick Wayne, Alex Shelley, Starboy Charlie, Mal, and Jack Cartwheel. Like, that's just when I saw that yesterday, I was like, that's just a massive amount of talent in that photo. I was like, and if they all learn anything from Alex Shelley, like if they just take even like a tenth of the advice that he offers him, like that's just that's an incredibly talented group of people, and the wrestling business is in good hands when they're in the hands of wrestlers like this, who are pushing the boundaries, who are learning different things about wrestling. And some there are young, like obviously Nick Wayne, we know, is only 18. I believe Starboy Charlie, I can't remember if he has turned 18 yet. He's killing it. He's in the Brat Pack with Billy Starks and a handful of other wrestlers who I just forgot. They wrestle in GCW a lot together. They kind of do some things. Starboy Charlie just won a tournament last weekend. I heard he did really well in that tournament. Jack Cartwheel is really great. Jack Cartwheel, I believe, just wrestled at I want to say he wrestled at Triple Mania last week. I believe that he was on that show.
His name keeps popping up, so
and he was on a couple episodes of Dark, and I believe he was on one episode of Dynamite a few months ago, or maybe it was Rampage. Jack Cartwheel he's really cool, obviously, because of his last name. He does do cartwheels, but he's awesome. Mal is somebody I'm getting a little bit more familiar with. I keep hearing his name a lot. He's getting booked in the States a lot. And of course, Kevin Knight has, killed it in New Japan. He's killing it in Impact. I heard he had a really great match yesterday in New Japan, but I just wanted to pop that up there because I just was very impressed with the amount of talent in that picture yesterday. And so we do have a serious thing to talk about.
Real quick
I
here.
wanted to pop this. Came across this GoFundMe for Buzzsaw Samuels. He wrestles in the Texas wrestling scene. A friend of mine who, because he lives in Texas, that is his wrestling scene. He is also friends with Buzzsaw, and so I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. So back in April, he had a grand mal seizure that led to a hospital stay where he was in there for over a week. He did have to have neurosurgery. He was rushed after being rushed to the ER. They found a peach-sized tumor inside his skull pushing on his brain. Luckily, it was non-cancerous. But they decided it's still too dangerous to remove the tumor, and the danger far outweighed the risks that come with surgery. He was in surgery for 6 hours, and the tumor was actually fully removed. There was no lasting damage to his brain. But of course, as you know, this is a very expensive hospital stay, surgery, fees. He's on anti-seizure medications. He has to have post-surgery tests and scans and visits, and unfortunately, this is something that hits very close
MRIs
to home,
once a year until the for the first few years, and all kinds of other ridiculousness.
Yeah, so he's got a long road ahead of him. And I want to say it's New Texas is the name of the promotion. They are having a show, and everything, the proceeds, all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to benefit Buzzsaw. But for people who cannot attend, there is a GoFundMe. Currently, their goal is $40,000. They are just under 2,000 of donations in the last week. I did tweet it last week. I do need to pop that up there again.
And we'll go ahead and put the link right in the description so that you guys can, I'm going to fix it up so that the link will be in the description. So you can go right there and click the link and actually just, if you want to, if you have a couple bucks to flip their way to help them out.
Yeah, please don't feel like if you have to make some giant donation. Literally
or just
every
share
dollar.
it.
Yeah, sharing it helps, and literally every dollar adds up. If you can only donate $1, you can do that. Or like you said, if you can't donate right now or you can't donate at all, that's fine. Retweeting it helps, getting the word out there. You know that we are big advocates of helping in the wrestling community. That's something that we have tried to use our platform for since the beginning. And so when this came across or came to my attention last Sunday, unfortunately I found out literally right after the show ended about this, and so I did try to go ahead and pop it up on our Twitter really quick, but I wanted to make sure that I talked about it here. And we'll
the good news is he's going to be around for the foreseeable future, and he's doing all right, so we just need to help him out. And better late than never, and we can
so we definitely want to get that out there. And we'll we'll keep an eye on the situation and give you guys updated on the situation. But so definitely want to make sure we get that out there. And so we wanted to get that out and appreciate that, and then we appreciate you guys hanging out with us a long time again today. This is funny because a few days ago Mel and I were like, if we make this show 90 minutes, we'll be good, because we have 2 back-to-back pre-shows, and
and here we are.
Listen, we had to talk about the Fight Game Media title that nobody else knows about.
It's true. If we hadn't gotten so sidetracked.
We had to talk about the football, the fantasy football, and the happy, and why you should subscribe for $10 to the Patreon. And then we also had to talk about me accepting JD's challenge and keep you guys posted on that.
Stuff here.
And so but thank you for hanging out with us. If you stayed
Nikki.
the whole 2.5 hours, or if you popped in for a few minutes here and there, we appreciate it. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate that too. And we will definitely be back next Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. We will start sending out the link probably in a few days. We'll definitely send reminders. It'll be on our Instagram. Daza said, I wish there was a week with no wrestling news so we could chat about loads of Steelers stuff. Us
someday.
Too, maybe once we
get the hour.
I was like, maybe when we get past these 2 weeks of of big
Craziness.
shows. Maybe people will relax a little bit and weekend, because Mel and I have some ideas of some things, future shows that we'll get into after all of this. But yes, Multiverse will be on soon. Your pre-show starts in probably 45 minutes. So Don said that he will see us in a couple of weeks. Enjoy All In. You enjoy All In as well. And thank you again for everybody who hung out with us, and we'll see you next week before All In at 10:30 a.m. next Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.